5 prospects in the Padres system. Luke Voigt is the major leaguer going to Washington. Padres have been also trying to move Eric Hosmer's salary. Dumb. They sent him to Boston. Hassan reports the Blue Jays get relievers Anthony Bass and Zach Pop from the Marlins. The Phillies acquired David Robinson from the Cubs. And in a separate move, they also get outfielder Brandon Marsh from the Angels. Joey Gallo goes from the Yankees to the Dodgers. Twins already got closer Jorge Lopez this morning from Baltimore. Jeff Passan reports they're going to acquire starter Tyler Mahle from the Reds for 2 hitting prospects and a pitching prospect. The Astros send Jake Odorizzi to the Braves for reliever Will Smith. Again, baseball tonight, on air right now, trade deadline special. The Dolphins have been docked a first-round pick next year, third-rounder in 2024. Owner Stephen Ross suspended until mid-October, fined $1.5 million. All of this is in connection to violating the integrity of the game for tampering and tanking allegations.
How would you love a chance to save some money on car insurance? Geico can help. Switch today and see all the ways you could save with great rates and discounts. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com to get a rate quote and get started seeing how much you could save.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one, man. We are locked and loaded. Tommy Moffitt in studio 1 hour from right now. Brooke Kirchhofer will be with us in hour number 3 to give us a Saints camp report. The Dolphins have gotten pegged for tampering with Sean Payton. We'll get into all that. I was in the hallway just about to come in to start the show, and Malik Nabers walked off the elevator. I said, well, you're coming on air with me now for a segment. So LSU wide receiver Malik Nabers, entering his sophomore season with the Tigers, joins us here in studio to start the show. How are you, man?
Doing good.
Tomorrow's the day, huh?
Yes, sir.
So your report tomorrow, start practice on Thursday. How do you feel right now compared to a year ago at this time?
All right, so a year ago, coming in, from a lot of the older guys, you get heard about fall camp. Fall camp is 2 weeks of work, just football. So my freshman year, I was kind of like, scared a little bit, didn't know what I was getting into. But when I really got into it, it was really fun. It was fun competing with the team and just never had to worry about nothing but just football. I mean, when I was talking with Jack and Nussmeyer today, we were just so pumped about going back at it in fall camp because, that's really like when you lock into football and you really show your talent to everybody. So we're really pumped about this one.
You transitioned really easily as a freshman. Not everybody does it, especially at some of the skill spots, right? But, man, played in 11 games, started 6 times as a freshman. Last time you were here, we talked about the touchdown catch against Kentucky, which was, we'll see that on loop forever. But in what ways do you think you're more comfortable coming out of this fall camp? You talked a little bit about sort of the feeling, but on field, how do you think you're going to be maybe more comfortable starting this year as to how long it might maybe took you to get comfortable last year?
Right, so freshman year coming out, the game was really fast. Like when I first got in my game, the first game I played, I came back in Central Michigan. That's after I hurt myself. And I messed up on the first play of the game.
What did you do?
I did the wrong route. Like I ran the route maybe like 10 times in practice, but I messed up on this one. I don't know how. Just my mind was going so much around, but when I started like actually playing more and got into the game started slowing down, and I really saw the signals more. I understand where to be at the right time. But this year is like I'm focused on more learning coverages so I can, do a route that's the same distance but don't look the same. Like just reading coverages more, getting with my QB, just understanding where I can be. Like if the defense do this, then do this. Well, just trying to get the routine right now.
Wait, so what was the route? You said it was against Central Michigan?
Yeah.
So what was the route?
So the route was I had a hitch.
Okay.
And I ran like an arrow. That's when I caught the ball on the sideline when Max was trying to throw it out. I wasn't supposed to be right there.
So was he throwing the ball away?
Yeah, he was.
And you just happened to be on the sideline.
Right, yeah.
Sometimes those are beautiful mistakes, though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it happens that way.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the off-season work as well with Coach Flint. Obviously, last year you were with Coach Moffit. New staff comes in. What was it like working with Coach Flint this offseason?
This offseason has been like more like I can actually like see my body getting to change more, you know, like from supplements, from eating right. You know, they got Dr. Freaks in there. He's making sure my body weight is where I want it to be, like my muscle mass, you know, everything like they more critique on our player health than, you know, what we can do on the field, you know, like what I'm saying, like they want to make sure we're better as a human and as a player than just coming out lifting buku weights, we're trying to get faster, stronger, you know, just building relationships as they go. Also.
So how much do you weigh?
I weigh 195.
What were you last year?
189.
Okay, so you put on about 6 pounds of muscle. Have you grown any height?
Yeah, I go maybe like 2 inches.
You've grown 2 inches?
Yeah.
So if I measured you barefoot, what would you be right now?
Probably like 6'2".
6'2", 190.
Yeah.
All right, man. Freshman All-SEC a year ago. Now looking to build on that moving into year 2. Have you done a lot of work? Have the receivers done a lot of work on the field with the quarterbacks in the summer?
Yes, a lot. Like this year has been like more critique on getting the receivers on point with the QB because you know we got a lot of QBs.
Yeah, you got 4 guys,
and we don't know like who's gonna be playing. So whichever QB start, like we have to be on pace. Like we just can't go in we never worked out with this QB, you know. So we have no excuses.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to work with Miles last year at all? Because he got injured right before fall camp.
Yeah, I got to work with him because I was basically in the summer because I was getting thrown in with the ones, you know, thrown in with the threes. You know, it was all they were just trying to make me catch up faster. So I got maybe I wouldn't say as much as I got with Nuss. Yeah, and Max, I got a lot with those two. But when Miles got hurt, I never really, you know, got to go with him. Yeah.
Malik Nabers in the studio with us for a couple of minutes here. Louisiana National Bank. You're going to be doing some NIL work with them. LN.bank, where you can learn more about them and the work that they're doing. I want to ask you about the quarterbacks, though. What would have been sort of your impressions? You mentioned you got to work with Garrett last year. Have you noticed a transformation? You guys came in the same class, so year 1 to year 2 transformation?
More confidence, I would say. Like he's a dog. Like whenever we go through, it's like he's a dog. Like the places he put the ball, like when he's rolling out, is crazy to say he's that young. You know, like he impresses me as a quarterback when he throws me the ball, and I'd be like, man, yeah, like this is crazy just to watch him throw the ball, like rolling out, how hard. It doesn't matter how hard, like the accuracy he puts on, like he understands like the defense. He tells me where to go. Like he tells me like the DB right here do that, and I'd be like on point. Like it just be the connection be just on spot.
What about working with Miles?
So Miles, like when I actually started working with Miles, it's been this year. You know, I really never really like actually work with Miles like one-on-one like I do with Garrett and Jaden. But as far as Miles, you know, he puts the ball like in places too, like you never would thought, like in defenses like you never would really think about.
Yeah, big dude, big arm.
Yeah.
And then Jaden is and Walker obviously here as well, but I think most people probably understand Walker's going to take a red shirt. He'll play if need be, but I think he's content to take the red shirt. But Jaden is interesting because we're all just learning him as well. We got to see him play at Arizona State, played a bunch, but you know, he showed up like right before spring. Right. So, I mean, he showed up and it's like, hey, here's spring practice. So what stands out to you about Jaden Daniels? Let's say, hey, describe him as a quarterback. What stands out?
So when he first got here, you know, I really watched him like at Arizona State, and I was like, he got pretty good arm talent and can roll out, you know, can run with the ball if needed. So just watching him like come into our offense and just sit back in the pocket and throw the ball. Like we never really seen him run a lot during spring. Like we almost just seen him like launch it. Like he got pretty good arm talent, and it's crazy to watch him and Gary like and Miles go at it in practice. Like they just be connection, just be amazing.
Yeah. It's so you mentioned though, like in spring, we didn't really get to see Jaden run.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to let your quarterback run and get hit in spring. So that'll be interesting to watch when fall camp gets started. A couple more minutes here with Malik Nabers. I think everyone roundly talks about the receiver group as the most talented group on the team. Certainly on the offense, defensive line has been big on the defensive side. do you? I don't want to say worry. I'm trying to think of a different word, but are there enough targets to go around for everybody?
Yeah, I think like there's enough passes to go around because like we got different formations like 11 personnel, 10 personnel. They switch out. I go outside, Jack go inside. Kyron come in, then we all go back to like Keyshawn, me, Jeray. Like we all in rotation, so it's not really like this person getting feeded more than this person. I mean, if you open, you open.
Got two more. One, what have been your impressions of Brian? I told you before we're off air. We're at SEC Media Days a couple of weeks ago. You said you'd like to maybe do that next year, possibility. I asked everybody at Media Days that I interviewed this question because I'm just curious everybody's impression. What have been your impressions of Brian Kelly so far, if you've gotten to know him really much at all?
So when I first really got to understand Brian Kelly was at I think it was official visits was the day, and he came. He talked to all the previous freshmen that was there. Talking about building this relationship with us guys during the official visits. And he's like a pretty comedian. Like every time
really?
Every time I see him, he always crack jokes like with me, and we be going back and forth, and we always have good laughs.
Be real though, like he tries to tell jokes, but his jokes aren't that good.
No, like sometimes I be thinking his jokes is serious because his face be so serious, and then he just toughen up, man. It's just a joke, and I be like, because I be taking it, serious because his face be so serious.
That's the thing. Like I tell people, like he's looser than most. My read on him so far is he's looser than most people think. Because you think externally, this guy from Boston, Northeast, kind of really intense, kind of hard. But I think every time he's been loose and easy to talk to, but he loves to tell jokes. His jokes just aren't that good. What about Cortez Hankton, your receiver coach? What's that relationship been like?
Coach Hankton, it's like my dog. Like I go talk to him every day, just about just like life, like and what his experience was when he played college, what his experience was when he went to the league. So it's like another person that I can look up to, just to like he did all the things that I did. He may have not played at the higher level in college that I played at and playing at, but he understands. He's been a coach around previous players that went to the league, so he understands. Like if I can listen to him and what he tells me, then he can help me for it in the future.
Do you think? Last thing, and Malik Nabers is with us again on behalf of Louisiana National Bank, Uncommon Banking, online at ln.bank. I'm very glad that you were just hanging out in the hallway. I'm glad to get to chat with you before you all start camp. Obviously, the last two seasons around here weren't up to everybody's standard.
Right.
What do you all talk about when you talk about expectation for this team and for this season?
We say it all the time, graduate champions. Like that's our main focus is to graduate as a champion. Like if we win a national championship right now, the freshmen will graduate a champion. Like it's gonna be previous, and onto generation. And we can help like other people come in as freshmen to come in, because like when Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and Joe Burrow won the championship, it all focused on LSU. Like we wanted to go to LSU to win a championship. So when we start doing that, other players can be like, okay, they won a championship, I want to be a part of that. So it's graduating players now and graduating players on that's coming.
I love it. Malik Nabers. Does anybody ever get you and BJ confused when you're wearing the 8s on the field?
All the time. All the time.
We were looking at the roster, and we were trying to figure out what – because it will happen inevitably. There will be an announcer that looks at the multiple numbers and will mess up. They'll say BJ Ojolari on a catch, or they'll give you credit for a sack or something like that. I don't know. I mean, you at 6'3", 190 – how big does BJ go?
BJ big.
He's a big dude.
Big.
Now, I saw him a couple weeks ago without pads on. He's thick. It would be hard to mess that one up, but I'm sure it'll happen. Hey man, good luck this season. Good health to you. We'll be pulling for you, man. We appreciate you jumping. I know you didn't plan to do this, but I'm glad you're here. So thanks for popping in with us.
All the time.
That's Malik Nabers. This is on behalf of Louisiana National Bank. Again, you can learn more at ln.bank. He's going to go record some commercials, so you'll be able to hear Malik on our air, I would presume, pretty soon. So we appreciate Malik for a couple of minutes. Tommy Moffitt's going to join us in studio 45 minutes from right now. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll continue on AFR.
AFR.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel. to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside, off the bench, Hunt and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to LA Contract.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, thanks again to Malik Nabers. Matt worked out really well. I mean, I was literally sitting in the hall, about to come in studio, and our receptionist, Lady Jag, gets off the elevator, and she goes, "Number 8 from LSU is here?" It's like, who are you here to see? And I guess he was here to record some commercials. And I was like, well, guess what? You're coming on air for a segment. So much appreciated there from Malik Nabers jumping aboard with us here. And we'll have Tommy Moffitt in the studio in about 40 minutes from right now. I think you're going to be very, very excited to hear what Coach Moffit has going on in his post-LSU coaching days and career. So that's coming up with Coach Moffit. We'll talk a little bit about the offseason, all that sort of stuff, and heading into this season as well. So looking forward to having Tommy Moffitt in the studio with us here to start hour number 2. I want to talk about Rickie Collins just a quick second. The Saints were back on the practice field today, another day of fall camp or training camp, excuse me. And I think it's going to be very interesting to watch this offensive line continue to develop. I mentioned Brooke Kirchhofer is going to be with us in hour number 3 for our camp report today. And if you go follow Brooke on Twitter, she's at Brooke Chesney. She posted a video. She tweeted a video today from camp of Trevor Penning getting into it with a teammate again. This time with JT Gray. And, y'all, I'm going to tell you, like, I love this about Trevor Penning. Like, yesterday I made the analogy that Trevor Penning is the 6'3", 330-pound Northern Iowa version, offensive line Northern Iowa version of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He is a dude that is not afraid of anybody. He is going to get in your head. He is going to finish a block. Like, he is the kind of guy that you hate to go against. Here was Dennis Allen after practice today talking about his rookie offensive tackle.
Look, it's a tough man's game played by tough people, and so I like that about him. I think he's improved since we had him in the spring. And, again, with all these guys, I don't want to get too high or too low on any of them right now. I want to just continue the evaluation process, but I like the direction he's headed.
I'm going to tell you there is something to be said for immediately feeling like you belong. And that was another thing that Trevor Penning said at the Senior Bowl. Because at the Senior Bowl, he was getting into it with dudes. I mean, this has been a trend for him. He did it at the Senior Bowl because he went to the Senior Bowl kind of pissed off. Like, I'm a dude that is from Northern Iowa, and I'm with all these dudes with famous helmets. There's the famous winged helmet from Michigan. There's Buckeyes from Ohio State. There's LSU and Alabama. And I got a little Northern Iowa on my helmet. But I ain't taking no crap from anybody. And he started scuffling with dudes at the Senior Bowl, and that became a storyline that week. And it's carried over here now, even with his own teammates. It's like, that's a dude with a mean streak who feels like he's got something to prove. And it would be so easy to, like, dip your toe in the water as you're starting. Like, to just sort of ease into camp. And I don't want to say try not to be noticed, but try not to mess up. He's doing the opposite. Like, this is cannonball into the deep end for Trevor Penning right now. He is being authentically who he is as an offensive lineman, and I love it. Cesar Ruiz, who's really got a lot to prove this year as a former first-round pick. Here was Cesar Ruiz today talking about Trevor Penning.
I would describe him as like a pit bull, kind of. It's like when you think he's done, he's not done. You know what I mean? He definitely has that finishing mentality that you love in offensive lineman.
I mean, that's what many are hoping to see from Ruiz as he goes into this year. I mean, for Cesar Ruiz, this is year 3. So you're really hoping that he takes that step forward. As for Ruiz, he is really an integral part of this offensive line for New Orleans. I don't want to undersell the importance of either James Hurst or Penning at left tackle. Clearly, you're replacing a perennial Pro Bowler, All-Pro in Teron Armstead, who has just been the anchor of that line when he's been healthy since he was drafted out of Pine Bluff. But Andrus Peat is your left guard, and he's been a solid guard for you and a pretty good rotational player. Ryan Ramczyk is arguably the best right tackle in football, and Eric McCoy has come into his own as one of the top centers in the NFL. So that leaves Ruiz as a former first-round pick with a lot to prove, who the Saints are going to have to make a decision if they're going to pick up his fifth-year option after this season. They're going to have to make a decision after year 3, do we pick up his fifth-year option? So, they're going to have to start thinking about if they're going to make that decision. So he's got a lot to prove this year, does Cesar Ruiz. And he talked about the offseason that he's had.
Yeah, this offseason was This is definitely a good one. This is the first, like, I guess you could say, real, like, OTAs, off-season, stuff like that. You know, being able to get on the field with, you know, Coach Marone and just work on things right away, you know, in April, that was really important, and that really helps a lot.
Of course, Doug Marone, former offensive coordinator and NFL head coach, is the Saints offensive line coach. That is a massive, I don't want to say but twist on this whole conversation about developing that position. And it's not to be dismissive of anybody that was here prior, but you're talking about just a very different level of accomplishment and notoriety when you're talking about Doug Marone there as the Saints offensive line coach. And then, of course, they've also brought in Jari Evans. And there was this great video at practice over the weekend of Jari Evans working with Cesar Ruiz there on these lineman drills. Here's what Ruiz had to say about working with a future Hall of Famer.
Oh, there's a bunch of stuff, especially when I'm talking to Jari. It's like, hey, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this? You know, it's not one specific thing I gained from him. It's literally, hey, what do you do on these type of blocks? What do you feel comfortable? How did you do it when you were a player? You know what I'm saying? What do you think is a good technique on this? And, you know, it's just tweaking those things and learn those things and, you know, implement them into my game is just, you know, it's just good. So I can't really just give like, hey, this and that, but it's a lot of different stuff, you know?
Look, Cesar Ruiz has been much maligned, and I've probably defended him more than others, not because I think his play is defensible. I think the situation that he's been in isn't what he was drafted to do. You know, Eric McCoy was drafted and was drafted as a guard, but played center out of necessity when Max Unger suddenly retired. And he was so good at center, they then drafted Cesar Ruiz, of course, because you know we learned shortly after the draft that they were getting rid of Larry Warford, and they had a need on the interior offensive line. So the plan clearly would have been Ruiz is your center, and you move McCoy back to guard. But Drew Brees comes back, and he didn't want to disrupt that battery, and McCoy was so good at center that it didn't want to disrupt that. So McCoy stays at center, Ruiz plays guard, and he's just not a guard, or hasn't been a guard. So he's learning that position as well. So part of me has looked at Ruiz and said, I'm willing to be patient because he's in a position that he's not meant to play. He's learning it as he came into the NFL. There was the COVID year, of course. And of your entire offensive line, Ruiz was the only guy last year who was actually durable. He was the only guy who didn't miss time. So I'm not excusing Ruiz for the past 2 years. I'm just saying I'm willing to allow him the opportunity to show the organization he's improved and can be a very good starter in this league. Look, Andrews Pete wasn't drafted to be a guard. He played left tackle at Stanford, thought you'd try him at right tackle. Turns out he couldn't be a tackle in the NFL. He settled in nicely at guard and has been a swing guy. When you've had injuries, he's been able to play tackle. It's worked to where he's not what you drafted him to be, but he's been a good player. I think we might be able to say the same for Ruiz if he continues to develop, but this is a big opportunity for him. You know, that offensive line is interesting for a lot of reasons. Ruiz with a lot to prove. You know, the Saints are going to have to make a decision on the fifth-year option for Cesar Ruiz. And then, boy, you look at the battle at left tackle. You know, can Penning as a rookie win that job, or does Hurst hold him off? Do you see Penning play a rotational role? Just one of the many storylines that we're talking about as the Saints make it through this camp. But I'm going to tell you, so far, the early returns on Penning, I haven't even seen him play in a game, but I don't care. Because what you want from that guy, from Northern Iowa to an NFL practice field, is to not be overwhelmed by that moment, to not be overwhelmed by that stage. And from Senior Bowl to then rookie minicamp to OTAs to minicamp to now training camp, Trevor Penning has looked like he is completely unafraid of taking this step and is ready to grab by the horns, and that's a phenomenal sight to see. Now, he's got to go do it, but you know, winning that battle, what do they say, on the 12-inch field between your ears? Like, that's huge, and he's on his way. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. Slimbo is going to be in studio with us. Tommy Moffitt in studio 30 minutes from right now. We'll get a Saints report to start hour number 3. We got a ton to do. I got to get to the Rickie Collins news, as well as the Woodlawn quarterback has decommitted from Purdue just days after taking his LSU visit. Stands to reason LSU's targeting their quarterback for the 2023 class. I got some thoughts on it. So a ton to do. You can tell football season's almost here, y'all. We are chock full and glad to have you aboard on AFR.
AFR.
Take 60 seconds and remind you about our friends at Clegg's Nursery, 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Segan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you to buy local and shop local. I mean, you look around town, and although we're moving into August now, we're into August, and you might think, well, fall's almost here. You know you live in Louisiana. We got like 2 more months of summer. It's how it whirls here. So you want to add that pop of color, you can do it. Full greenhouses with beautiful flowers. You want to add some privacy, shrubs, maybe to keep the neighbors out. You can certainly do that and have it beautify your landscape as well. If you need mulch or soil, they have it by the bag, by bulk. Even if you need accessories, like I tell you all the time, if mosquitoes are a problem at your house, the Spartan Mosquito Eradicator. Affordably get rid of mosquitoes 30 days at a time with the Spartan Mosquito Eradicator, available at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local. Clegg's has been serving Baton Rouge for more than 60 years. Be sure to tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at Revelry.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Ronnie Rantz will be with us in about 10 minutes from right now. The Rougarou, excuse me. Their final game of the season is coming up tonight out of Goolsby Field. We'll talk about that. There was... most fans, I understand, are recruiting followers 2 days a year. The early signing period and the traditional February signing period. Unless if there is some type of significant news that involves a major prospect, like when Arch Manning, for example, committed to Texas. Most people paid attention to that. On Saturday, when 5-star Shelton Sampson makes his announcement, most people are going to pay attention to that. When it's quarterback news, it's generally going to be bigger news, such as the news that came on Monday night when Rickie Collins, the quarterback from Woodlawn, the 4-star in Baton Rouge, decommitted from Purdue. Rickie Collins made the post on his social media. He has been committed to Purdue for many months now. I thank Purdue for believing in him, but ultimately decided to decommit. Now, this is obviously getting a lot of attention from LSU circles because on Friday, Rickie Collins was visiting LSU. So the Baton Rouge kid from Woodlawn who had been committed to Purdue visits LSU on Friday. He's got the offer, and then a couple of days later, he decommits from Purdue. All the LSU players start using the hashtag Rickie Reconsidered. You understand seemingly where this is going. By the way, Sam Spiegelman back in July, this was actually at the end of July, so just a little more than a week ago, this was on Fox 8, kind of was asked if LSU could flip Rickie Collins.
The LSU has certainly been putting on a little bit of pressure this summer. They've gotten him on campus in June. They've been turning up the heat with him and his family as Woodlawn gets back to practice for the senior season. He is a top guy left on their board. A lot their other quarterbacks have either committed elsewhere or they've kind of opened the door for them to kind of isolate on Rickie, and it's a great player to isolate on. They have their work cut out for them, but if it's going to become a two-team race between Purdue and LSU, and he's got his full senior season ahead of him, I think LSU would like to again have something done earlier rather than later, and they're turning up the heat, but they have their work cut out for them.
So you heard Sam say it there. LSU took their shot. They took their shot at a couple of elite national targets in Jaden Rashada, Dante Moore, and they missed. Happens. Those guys just picked other places. Okay. And there were a couple of prospects from Louisiana that never really had LSU in the running. Arch Manning picked Texas. Eli Holstein was committed to A&M. Now he flipped to Alabama. So you look at kind of what's next, and Rickie Collins may feel to some like he's a consolation prize. But I'm telling you, that kid has it. Like, whatever it is, that thing that you look at in a leader and a quarterback, that kid's got it. I'm not going to, I have never been, nor have I ever purported to be a scout, a talent evaluator, analyst, anything like that, okay? I'm not watching huddle highlights. I'm not breaking down 40 times and drop steps and all that stuff. That's not what I do. I never have and I never will. There's people who do that plenty good enough. I did call high school football games for a decade. I saw a crapload, technical term, of high school football players, and sometimes you can just tell. Sometimes you can just tell, oh, that guy's different. I get it. Okay, so it's like they're all playing at the same speed, and there's that guy. Rickie Collins was that guy. Saw him play last year against Catholic. Keep in mind that's a team that won the state championship in Division I, lost one game all year. It was to Woodlawn. 3 times Catholic had the lead in the game. 3 times Rickie Collins led them to tie the game, and then ultimately scored the game-winning touchdown with 2 minutes to go in the ball game to beat what would be the state champion and hand them their only loss in the year. In that game, by the way, I went back and looked it up. He was 14 of 20 passing for 198 and a score, and he ran 15 times for 46 yards and a touchdown. He's awesome. That guy can absolutely play in the SEC and be a guy in the SEC. And I want to point out that sometimes, especially quarterback, we get so hyper-focused on the creme de la creme. And yes, you can look at quarterbacks that have won national championships recently. If it were Bryce Young, or, I mean, obviously Stetson Bennett won the national championship a year ago, but Bryce Young won the Heisman, Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston. Just in this playoff era, or Jameis back in 2013, right before the playoff era, you can look at dudes that won the national championship that were top quarterback prospects. Absolutely. I could also point out Mac Jones, who was the 18th best pro-style quarterback in the country and is ranked number 399 nationally, just inside of the top 400. Go back to Cardale Jones in 2014. He was the 10th best pro-style quarterback. He was ranked number 398 nationally. So understand, Cardale Jones was 398. Mac Jones was 399 nationally. Joe Burrow was the 8th best dual-threat quarterback. That's when they started splitting them, dual-threat and pro-style. He was number 280 nationally. The 280th best player nationally. Go back to Matt Flynn. He was the 12th best quarterback. They didn't split him pro-style and dual-threat at that point. But Matt Flynn was ranked number 159 nationally. Of all the ones I just mentioned, Matt Flynn was the highest ranked coming out of high school. My point is, sometimes you don't have to have the dude that's the number one quarterback in the country to compete for a national title and to have dudes that end up being great. Matt Flynn played a long time in the NFL. Joe Burrow is a dude. Mac Jones was a starter as a rookie in the NFL. None of those guys were top quarterback prospects in the country. None of those guys are 5 stars. And yeah, you got Bryce Young, and you got Trevor Lawrence, and you got Deshaun Watson, and you got guys that are 5 stars that go on and do amazing things. But it's not a prerequisite. As Stetson Bennett just showed, as Joe Burrow showed, as Matt Flynn showed, Mac Jones showed, Jacob Coker. I mean, it's doable. And that intangible thing, Rickie Collins has it. And when you match that intangible thing with a 6'3", 190-pound frame and an arm that you could sling it around, went to the Elite 11 and showed out a little bit this summer, and that's before he even played his senior year. Yeah. Like, if LSU flips Rickie Collins, I'm excited. I am legitimately excited. I would have been pumped if they had gotten Rashada or Moore, one of these 5-star big national guys. Of course I would have. But if they flip this guy from Purdue, I'm telling you, kid can play. And when you're putting on for your state, it's a big deal. And you're stockpiling Walker Howard and then Rickie Collins. And you could start to see behind Nussmeier and the guys that are there now that quarterback room getting really deep and really talented with really good options. So Rickie Collins is decommitted from Purdue. LSU apparently has him in the crosshairs. We'll see if ultimately he's able to pull the trigger. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans. GMFSmortgage.com since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans, maybe a cash-out refinance is what you're looking for. GMFS Mortgage can help you out. GMFSmortgage.com. Get in touch with a local loan officer at GMFS Mortgage. GMFS Mortgage, changing lives. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Alabama keeps stockpiling blue chip talent. Ty Lockwood out of Tennessee has flipped from Ohio State to Bama. He's a 4-star, 6'5", 225, the number 9 tight end in the country. Bama now with 18 commits. Crimson Tide has the number 1 class in the country with 4 5-stars and 11 4-stars.
The Texas A&M Aggies.
A defensive lineman, Samu Taumanu-Pepe. He's a nose tackle who runs 6'3", 380. Yeah, 6'3", 380. He's committed to A&M over the likes of Miami, Oregon, Baylor, TCU, and Texas. First defensive line commit in the class for the Aggies.
The Auburn Tigers.
I got a baseball and a basketball note here from Auburn. Auburn legend Tim Hudson stepping down as Auburn's pitching coach. After 3 seasons, he's going to coach Lee Scott Academy, where his son's about to be a senior. Hudson, of course, spent 17 years in the majors. Darren Shanerock, a 38-year coaching veteran who spent the last 18 seasons as the Memphis head coach. He's Auburn's new pitching coach. Meanwhile, on the hardwood, Auburn's playing in Jerusalem right now, but they got a commitment from 4-star Aiden Holloway, 6 foot, 155-pound point guard, rated the number 30 overall player in the country.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Ugonna Onyeso. He signed with Kentucky. He's reclassified to join the team this year. 6'11", 225. He's a Nigerian native who spent this last year playing high school ball in Connecticut. Ranked the 25th best player in the country. Also one of the youngest players ever to make the senior men's Nigerian national team.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
And Ole Miss is in their summer exhibition series down in the Bahamas. And they beat the Bahamas select team last night, 89-71. They fell behind, came storming back, and ultimately ran away with it. James White led all players to 23 points. Matthew Morrell finished with 16. True freshman Amari Abram had 14 points. Rebs back in action a little more than an hour from right now, 5 o'clock Central, against the Discount Distributor Rockets. Maybe a sponsor for the Rougarou next year. There you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online at gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. We'll knock out a quick break. Come back. Ronnie Rantz is in studio. And then Tommy Moffitt's in studio. Got a lot of people in studio today. It's been fun. Stay here.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James and Associates, powered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. You know where to find them. It's at agent225.com. There is no realtor in the world, I'll go ahead and say it, I'll put my stamp of approval on it, no realtor in the world that uses technology and advancements in technology and is more creative than Darren James at marketing your home and getting your home sold faster for more money. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. If you need to sell your home, you need to sell your home fast and for the most money possible, it's easy. Call the realtor that sells more homes than anyone. Call Darren James. On the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1% of realtors in America. Let me say that again. The Real Trends list of the top 1% of realtors in America. That's Darren James. He gets you results, and you will always have an unbelievable customer service experience. Call Darren James. Get your home sold.
Think real estate. Think Darren James.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Kids have staked out their place at Ochsner Medical Complex The Grove, where more than 30 pediatricians and pediatric specialists are all conveniently located under one roof, so you can spend less time driving and more time keeping your kids well. Yes! It's no wonder kids call dibs at The Grove. Ochsner Health Center for Children.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Well, the Rougarou season couldn't end without one more visit from Rougarou. Oh, big guy. It is game day. And this is a big one. I mean, we have got promotions galore. Rougarou, what's going on,
Thanks
man?
for having me, Matt. By the way, first ever playoff game for the Rougarou tonight.
Yes.
3 different seasons, 3 different owners. We finally brought it home.
Yeah.
Record wins, 19 wins on the season, most ever. Playing in the playoffs against our big rival, the Acadiana Cane Cutters, tonight at 7 o'clock at Goldsby Field.
All it took was getting that refrigerator box down
That's
the
it.
line.
The cooling box,
You get the
thanks to
cooling
Louisiana
box
Lottery.
down the line, and then all of a sudden, I tell you what, the players are super motivated, and now we got the Rougarou in the postseason tonight. You were running through all the promotions.
Yeah, you ready?
It's incredible. Like minor league or collegiate league baseball are usually known for the promotion.
Yeah,
right? You got
sure.
firework night. You got bring the dog to the park night. You got little
2-for-1
league,
hot
whatever.
dogs.
Yeah, whatever. Like that's you got them all in one night.
Well, Matt, this will be our 25th game tonight. And by the way, we are playing. There's a tarp on the field. We're going to start at 7 o'clock, maybe 7:30. But the point is that we're playing tonight, damn it. Okay? Trust me, all right? But here's the thing is that we've had 7 rainouts.
Hey, man, get that thing turfed, all right?
7 rainouts. So because of that, we're making up for it tonight, baby.
Yeah.
We've got, you ready for this? Fireworks after the game. So you stick around. We're going to reward you win or lose with a great fireworks show from our folks up in Natchitoches who put on the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame fireworks show. Then we've also got Bark at the Park. If you got a dog and it's well behaved, bring it to the ballpark. Preferably, it doesn't need to, do number 1 or number 2. That'd be even better.
I mean, dogs usually do that, Rob.
Hopefully, just number 1.
All right.
So you come out to the ballpark. You get in free with your dog.
Okay.
And you get to parade your dog. We're going to do a parade of dogs in the second inning behind home plate.
Nothing could go wrong.
We're going to give an award for prettiest dog,
Okay.
ugliest dog,
Ooh.
and best behaved.
Okay.
So 3 different gift baskets thanks to Raising Cane's. And we also have 225 wrestlers are going to be out there. Professional wrestlers are going to be in attendance, wearing their tights, their uniform. They're going to be doing their things, taking pictures, spotty slamming if you want. That's 225 wrestlings are going to be out there. What else did I forget? Oh, $1,000 cash to the travel ball or summer team, or it could be a lacrosse team. Doesn't matter. If you're a team, come on out. $1,000 cash to whoever brings the most fans.
We got the jersey auctions.
We got a jersey auction. Go to brrougarou.com. You got a 5:30 to get it in. If not, you can bet on what's left over at the ball games. Authentic jerseys worn by the players. Because we're getting new ones next year from Marucci.
I love it.
So, we got a lot of things. Oh, by the way, $2 night at the concession stand. 2 for 2. No, but
Okay.
a bunch of things. 2 for Tuesday night. We got 5 or 6 things that are normally $4 or $5. We do
Got
them for
it.
$2. So, look, we're unloading the guns tonight.
Who's doing the national anthem, Rougarou?
National anthem. Derek Shipley of
I'm
Parish
telling
County
you.
Line
I'm
is doing the
telling
national
you.
anthem. T-Bob Abear's throwing out the first pitch. You got first game
Get out.
next year.
Get out.
You got the first game
Get
opening
out.
night next year.
I've been hearing this for 2 years now, ever since Casey McKenzie started last year with the Rougarou promotions. And then you come in here as the owner, and you're like, yeah, Scone, we're going to get you out there on the first pitch. You're going to give him a little one of these or one of these
Yeah.
over the top. And I tell you what, I get no call. I get no call to throw out the first pitch.
I got harassed into making that happen. But listen, next year,
What, with T-Bob?
can we get you booked for the opening day next year?
I would love to do
Biggest
opening day,
crowd of the
but
year
I'm going
next
to tell
year.
you this right now, Rougarou. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. There's no way in hell T-Bob's going from the rubber and throwing a strike. I'm
Okay.
telling you right now. There's
Okay.
no way
We'll make
in
sure
hell.
he throws from the rubber, and we'll see.
Put
we'll
him on the
record
rubber.
it. We'll record it.
Whatever you want to bet, you get old the Bob on the show right now. We'll talk about it tomorrow on Scone and T. There's no way the Bob goes from the rubber and delivers a strike. I will guarantee you next year opener, your boy from the rubber. You want any action on the pitch
Got an
too?
E-guarantee
Got
right
it.
there. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Guarantee. All right.
Okay. All right.
I just got a year to get ready for it now.
That's it.
Since
No pressure.
since I wasn't invited.
No
Although
pressure.
I was told I'd be invited.
Hey, come on out tonight. We got 2-for-1 beers. Did I mention that? 2-for-1 beers tonight. 7 o'clock, Goldsby Field. That's 1502 Frost Street, right next to where Catholic High plays
for
football,
sure.
Memorial Stadium.
For those that don't know, it's easy. You go Governor Mansion Curve, you take Fuqua Street, you make the left, and then there's Memorial, and then there's
Goldsby.
There's Goldsby. I played at Goldsby, 25 years ago. It really is amazing.
70-year-old ballpark this year.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But the restoration to the park, considering what I played, I mean, Ron, there were
it was bad in the 80s and 90s.
There were holes in the fence.
Right.
I mean, it was bad. It really is amazing
If
how
you
far
can't
it's
make
gone.
it and you're on in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, you can watch on Cox Cable Channel 20 on Pelican Broadcasting tonight.
We got TV as well.
Games
Who's
on TV.
doing the radio?
Patrick Wright and Tommy Chrysan on the game tonight.
The A Squad.
Yeah,
doing the radio.
no
for
radio today
Rougarou.
because of Jimmy Ott's show. Otter bumped us.
Jimmy Ott, that bum who can't hit a game anymore of his life.
He definitely can't throw a strike from the rubber.
Spending a month watching the ponies in Del Mar.
What a
I'm over
life.
this guy.
What a life.
I'm over it, right? I'm like so jealous. Like that's what I want to be when I'm 60 years old.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Rougarou of the Baton Rouge
BRRougarou.com.
BRRougarou.com. 7 o'clock first pitch, maybe 7:30, depending on the rate. But they are playing tonight out at Goolsby. Thanks, Rougarou. I appreciate it. Tommy Moffitt in studio next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020. Eye care, eye wear, eye surgery. So right now, all throughout August, sort of a back-to-school special. It's buy one, get one, 50% off on glasses. So if you do wear glasses or contacts, you want to have the whole family's eye exams because you should always get your annual eye exam. Rougarou, telling you. You should always go get your annual eye exam.
You'll hit better.
Don't skimp on it. Go get your family eye exam, take care of your eyes, buy one pair of glasses, get the second pair 50% off all throughout the month of August at the Williamson Eye Center locations. Any of their locations, including the newest location in Lutcher. They're everywhere. It's like Baton Rouge, Denham, Zachary, New Roads, Gonzales, Lutcher, everywhere. WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com where you can schedule, or you can call 924-2020. And as we always mention, if you want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, you can. No matter your age or your refractive issue, the Williamson Eye Center has a procedure for you. It's the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Vizzy, the first hard seltzer with antioxidant vitamin C. It just hits different. Vizzy, step up your seltzer game.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Kevin Winter. Trade deadline in baseball comes your way an hour from now. There's been a monster day of activity. Juan Soto, the big one, traded from the Nationals to the San Diego Padres. Josh Bell goes with them for the top 5 prospects in the San Diego Padres system. The Padres also go out and get reliever Brandon Drury from the Cincinnati Reds. They ship Eric Hosmer to the Red Sox. Question is, how much of the $44 million left on his contract is going with them, or prospects going as well? Joey Gallo dealt from the Yankees to the Dodgers. The Phillies get David Robertson from the Cubs. They also get center fielder Brandon Marsh from the Angels in separate deals. The Twins get closer Jorge Lopez from the Baltimore Orioles. They also get starter Tyler Mahle from the Cincinnati Reds. The Astros part ways with Jake Odorizzi, ship him to the Braves in exchange for reliever Will Smith. The Mets get reliever Darren Ruff from the Giants for J.D. Davis and 3 pitching prospects. Football, the Dolphins docked a first-round pick next year, third-rounder in 2024. Owner Stephen Ross fined $1.5 million, suspended until mid-October for violating the integrity of the game policy. Broncos wideout Tim Patrick suffers a torn ACL in practice today from Adam Schefter.
Long summer days call for extra hands. Hire fast with Indeed. Their hiring solution helps attract, interview, and hire candidates. Sponsor a job and instantly receive a short list of quality candidates whose resumes match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt. I am sweating. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. We'll get your Saints camp report 1 hour from right now. Brooke Kirchhofer will be with us from WWL. Looking forward to that. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. 3-time national champion at LSU, Tommy Moffitt in studio with us. How are you, man? It's great to see you.
I'm doing good. Really good.
I'm going to get you a little closer.
All right.
These mics are temperamental, man. Like, you got to be on the mic with these things.
I got to learn all of it.
Well, we're going to talk about that. You'll notice most studios, they got like the glass, right?
Yeah.
To separate the producer. Well, when they built this studio, because there's a camera right there, they couldn't put the glass in here. So in order to compensate, so like you don't hear the producers, they made these mics super, like you have to be on the mic to be able to talk. Anyway.
Got it.
I know, that's a little inside baseball for you. Let me just start with an obvious one. How are you?
Unbelievable.
Okay, that's good to know. You're not BSing anybody, right?
No.
So fill us in, man. What are we talking about? 7, 8 months have been like for you?
I've done a lot. I mean, I've hunted a lot. I've worked out a lot. I'm up to about 50 miles a week on my bike now. So it took me a while to get that back. I had one 60-mile week, so I've done a lot of that. Worked in the yard, and I've been working on a project, with the folks here at Guarantee and Matt Bruce at Catholic High, and things are going well. I did the math. I figured I worked about 6,600 days at LSU, and out of those 6,600 days, I had one bad day, and that was the last.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what you would say was the one bad day?
Yeah. No, seriously.
I thought you were going to go January 9th of 2012.
No. Yeah. No.
I mean, that's the one that I'll always start.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people struggle with that one. But no, I had one bad day, and, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't days that, I said, why me, or something like that. But I've tried to focus on the positive. There were 6,600 days that I couldn't do it over again and, have more fun than what we did. So honestly, I am, and people who know me and spend more time with me, like my wife and, and the kids and my close friends, they say, how are you doing this? And I'm like, it's easy. So yeah, it's been great. It's really been good.
You and I saw you at the state championship game when Catholic played Jesuit, and that was in December, and it was shortly after Coach Kelly had been hired. And when we talked, I think we like the whole halftime. You and I just sat there and talked, and you had like a bajillion calls and opportunities to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you coaching somewhere else?
Well, good question. So I got calls immediately after losing my job, and I turned them all down. And the main reason is I had a lot of work that I had to do with myself. That's why I have such a good attitude now. I had to look back and think about all the stuff that we did and all the time that we spent there and the different things that we encountered over the years to make sure that the stuff that I was doing was right. And so I just didn't think that I would have been in the right frame of mind had I taken a job somewhere else. And that's the reason really that I was still at LSU as long as I was, because to me, everything was always about the timing, and people would always say the reason that Tommy never left LSU is because Jill didn't want to, but it wasn't Jill, it was me. And I enjoyed working there. And I just didn't think that I would have done anyone, the coach, the athletes, and the university any good, because of the things that I had to sort through. 22 years, and I loved that place. And after 22 seasons, I just had some things that I had to work out, and so that's why. One job I kind of regrettably, looking back on it, turned him down because he was a friend of mine, and I think it would have been a good position. And it was close to home, and so, but I had to do it. I had to do it for him because he's a friend of mine. So
you had to turn him down.
Yeah, I had to turn him down.
Turn him down because he was a friend. You're not comfortable saying who it was?
No, I can't do that.
Okay.
No.
Did Nick call you?
Well, we talked a little bit, but yeah, I talked to Coach Saban about it. Yeah.
When saying 22 years is a mouthful.
Yeah.
Because in coaching, nobody stays anywhere 22 years anymore. I mean, like the days of Mickey Andrews at Florida State, or it just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
When you showed up at LSU in 2000, when Nick Saban hired you, like I don't even know if you can remember. Like, would you have thought 22 years later I'll still be here?
No, if I would have thought I was still going to be here, I would have signed up for the Louisiana teachers retirement. But I was. I didn't do that. And in fact, when I still remember, I was going through the HR stuff with the lady, and she said, well, if you signed up for the Louisiana teachers retirement in 20 years, you would get 85% of your salary for the rest of your life. But nobody ever stays here that long. So you want to go with TIA Craft or Valak? So I went with TIA Craft. So when I took the job at Curtis, I gave myself I gave JT a 5-year commitment. I was there for 6. When I got the job at Tennessee, I said, I'm going to stay here 5 years. In 4 years, I got offered the Miami job. And so I took the Miami job knowing that I wasn't going to be the string coach at Miami forever because, number one, Butch, even in my interview, he talked about going to the NFL. And so I took the Miami job just because it was a head coaching job and it was in Miami, and it was the Miami Hurricanes, So
those ended up being some good teams too.
Yeah. So when this job, when I got offered this job, because when it came open, I was told that I should apply for it, but I was like, they already have a strength coach, and they're not going to hire me. They got a guy, and so. Jill and I were driving from Miami to Jacksonville for the Gator Bowl. We were playing Georgia Tech, and the phone rang while we were at the hotel, and it was Coach Jenkins, and he had Nick on the line. So that's how all that happened. So,
I love Pete Jenkins, by the way. God, he's just I can hear him saying, "Tommy,
yeah,
Coach Moffit." Me and Terrio talk about Coach Pete all the time. Tommy Moffitt is in studio with us here. We're lucky to have him for a couple of segments. One more sort of on a retrospective before we look ahead. Was there any point during those 22 years where you almost left?
Never got on a plane to go to an interview. So there was one. I almost, when Coach Dooley got the job at Tennessee, because it was Tennessee, Derek offered me the job, but I just had surgery. That was after we'd played Penn State in the what was
Citrus
that?
Bowl,
Citrus
or
Bowl,
whatever the Capital One Bowl at the time.
So that's when I had cancer surgery. So I told Derek, I said, I can't do it. And Derek was like, come on, man. I'll hire you now. You stay at home and recover. And then when you're well, you can take the job, and whether it be May or June. And I was like, I can't do it. But I was close to taking that job. I was really close to taking that job. And then the next year, he offered me the job again, and almost took it then because it was Tennessee. But, and there's others. I almost took an NFL job. In fact, funny story, quick story. So
take as much time as you got.
Okay.
Radio's long for. Take your time.
Good. So I'd been offered this NFL job with somebody that I knew very well, and it was promising. Great money, great benefits, nice city. So Jill and I are riding around trying to figure out, make the decision, because I had to call the coach at noon to make the decision. And we're riding around town, and there was this coffee shop, and I told her, I said, hey, pull in here. I've got to go to the bathroom. Because it was an off day at LSU, so the team wasn't working. So we're just riding around Baton Rouge, and I'm trying to decide if I'm going to take the job or not, and call the coach and take the job. And so so she pulls into the parking lot, and I get up, and I go in the bathroom, and the bathroom looked just like the bathroom at the University of Miami. The sink, the toilet, the paint, the towel dispenser, it was crazy.
It's crazy. You remember what the bathroom at Miami looks like.
Yeah.
But okay.
So I washed my hands, and I walk out the door, and I sat in the car, and I picked up the phone. She goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm calling the coach and telling him no. Because to me, that was kind of a sign, I don't know. It was kind of weird. But, yeah, so I almost took that job. So there was a few that I almost took. But the thing that I always kept thinking about was the kids and the quality of life that we had here in Baton Rouge. And whether it was St. Aloysius or Catholic High or one of them's at LSU, that was always the thing that kept me here.
Tommy Moffitt is in studio with us. Little look back. We're also going to look forward at what is next, because Coach has partnered with us here at Guarantee with some really exciting things that are coming that we're excited to tell you about. Also going to talk a little bit about the Tigers. So glad you're hanging out with us here. We got Tommy Moffitt in the studio. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Our Tuesday shows are brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. As a matter of fact, honest to goodness true story, got a text earlier today from the guy who does the AFR jingle, Toby Tomplay. He said, hey, I have a buddy who's looking to shop his insurance. Are the Insurance Network of Louisiana guys really as good as you say? And I'll tell you here what I told him via text and what I would tell anybody. I'll never endorse anybody if I don't absolutely believe in them, if I wouldn't use them. And a handful of years ago, I had been with State Farm my whole life, and Insurance Network of Louisiana wanted to do some ads with us. And I said, well, let me go through the process. So they ran my numbers just like they would do for you or anybody else. They shopped independently for me, ended up quadrupling my coverage, and saved me $1,600 a year on my insurance. How much could you be overpaying? How much might you be underinsured? You won't know until you call. 293-0450, 293-0450. Call them right now. 293-0450 or online at lainsurance.net, lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, glad to have Coach Moffit hanging out with us here in studio. And when he walked in, I said, well, how much time do you have? He said, I got nothing to do. Going on vacation. I was like, well, you probably shouldn't have told me that because I'll keep you in that chair all damn day. No, but I always love chatting with you. And so we kind of spent the first segment, if you're just joining us, talking about what the last 8 months has been like for Coach and sort of a retrospective on his time at LSU. I do want to talk about the team and football in a bit, but part of what has led you here is with all the opportunities you had, decided not to coach. You decided to remain involved in strength and conditioning, maybe some media as well. Tell us where you are and how you got to this point.
Yeah. So when COVID hit, we didn't know what we were going to do, and a lot of the coaching that we were doing at the time was on our cell phones. So I was talking to Clay. And
your son, Clay.
Yeah, my son Clay. I was talking to Clay, and Clay come up with the ideal. Let's develop an app, a strength and conditioning app. Clay's always hustling, man. And he goes, let's develop a strength and conditioning app. And we talked to some people about doing it. And it was a great idea, but then we went back to work. But it was always in the back of my mind, and I was always jotting down notes and thinking about it and talking to Clay about it and talking to other people about it. And so when I lost my job, I was thinking, let's take this thing and go all out. And there's more to the story than that, but that's basically how it all happened. And by developing this product, and once we get up and running and it's operating like it should, then I can still go back and coach because I still want to coach someone. That's it's the only job I've ever had is coaching. So I still want to coach, but this will allow me to stay busy, to stay relevant, and to continue giving back to sports and athletics and young people and stay involved. And if a coaching opportunity comes this time, or in January, then I can take it if I choose to. But
so when you say you want to coach, you may want to coach college again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. If the right opportunity comes.
If the right opportunity came along.
What about pros?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the only reason why I never took a pro job before was because I had a great college job.
Right, for sure.
So.
I don't want to leave the Moffit Method, though. So that's the app that you're building. It's called the Moffit Method. Explain the concept.
Yeah. So here's how the thought process began. It's because there's a lot of schools that have, just like when I played football, you have the offensive line. It's always the offensive line coach or the defensive line coach or the head coach that's in the weight room.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're usually doing whatever they did when they played football in college, and it's generally not their best effort because the majority of them across America, and it doesn't matter if it's football, baseball, basketball, lacrosse, they're teachers. They have to teach, and then they have to coach. Either if you're the head coach, you're in charge of the entire squad, and you have to do practice plans, and then you're having to plan to develop your weight program as well, and all the stuff that goes along with that. So what the Moffit Method, what we're going to do is give the high school a scalable online or cloud-based app system, and it's 52 weeks out of the year of training. If you want your team to train, you're going to have a product available to you. Every morning when the kids wake up, it will be on their phone. So they'll know exactly what they have to do that day. And in addition to that, instead of just like writing, that would be called a template if we were not servicing it. But we want to be able to do more than what anybody else out there is doing. So we're going to have a remote coach that is assigned to every one of the schools. And so that coach is there every day to first train the coach how to use the program. And then through video and the app, we also want to coach technique, because if you surveyed the high school coaches and administrators and the sport coaches, one of the things that concerns them most when their team is in the weight room is safety and technique. And so we want to be able to take care of that by coaching the coaches online with staff meetings. And then every time the kid's in the weight room, if he's working out, and let's say, for instance, he's using his phone or an app that's on the rack or it's pulled up on the television, if anybody has a question about any exercise that they're doing, all they have to do is thumb it and highlight it, and then there are videos and bullet points about how to properly, perform the exercise.
Makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense. And so if I have, let's say, for instance, it's in season and we have a Monday and Wednesday workout scheduled and rain, it's something happens and they got to rearrange it. Now, our coach, our remote coach, can go in there and change that workout. But while he's doing that, our goal is to teach the coaches how to manage the app and the software, so that the coach learns to operate the software himself, but you can easily go in and switch days, switch exercises. If you have an outdoor workout, like a running workout scheduled, and it's a torrential downpour, then you'll have alternatives to do in the gym. You know how you used to do at Catholic?
Oh, yeah.
Coach Weiner wouldn't hesitate to take you in the gym.
Man, we love gym practice. It was like when it rained outside and you didn't have an option, it was like, hey, guys, put on your tennis shoes. We're going to the gym. You're not running 100-yard wind sprints in the gym. Those were good days for big fat guys like me in high school. So it's the Moffit Method.
Yep.
When is it going to go live?
So we're hoping, we're going to have a podcast, because a lot of it has to do with education. So we're going to have a podcast. And so the podcast will start as soon as everybody gets off of vacation. But the product should be available mid to late October. Our goal is to have it in place when off-season training for football begins in January.
Got it.
But it's not just a football-based program. Our goal is to be able to do all the programs at your high school, and they're going to be sport-specific. And what's neat, so let's say we have a multi-sport athlete who plays football, and then he goes into basketball, and he runs track or plays baseball. So you'll have a locker room where all your football players are working out in the app. And then so at the end of the season, if John Doe plays running back and he's your point guard on the basketball team, you just highlight John and drag him over into the basketball program, and then all of his maxes and everything transfer. And then when he goes to run track or if he's playing baseball, you highlight him and you drag him over into the next locker room. And so it's going to make it so simple. And the workout, you can print them out. So the coach could print the workouts out and hand them to him, and it's all specific to that young man.
Yeah.
And injuries, if a guy can't squat, if a guy can't bench press or anything, it's simple. You just go into the app and you change the exercise, the progression, and everything, and boom, you're off and running.
It's an incredible idea, and I think it's going to be transformative for a lot of schools. I think you understand that. Of course, you understand this, but there's a lot of schools that can't afford a full-time strength coach. So this is something that supplements what you do have in place, which is like for us, we were blessed. Coach Weiner was awesome. Coach Weiner was also our strength coach.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of high schools that don't have that resource. So it's pretty incredible. The Moffitt Method, the podcast will be coming as well. You're doing some other media as well, maybe? Is this official?
Maybe, yeah. It's official. I believe it's official.
Okay.
So I'm going to be doing a football podcast. Fired up about it with Aaron Torres. And the co-host is going to be Matthew Huntley, young man from Huntsville, Alabama. And so we're going to.
Who does he cheer for, Coach?
Yeah, he cheers for Auburn.
Coach told me, he goes, dang it, he's an Auburn guy. I said, but it's going to be great. Like, you're going to great opportunities for disagreements and for stories, and you can put him in his place every now and again.
Yeah.
Coach.
So we're going to we'll have that. It looks like it's going to be something that will run every Monday throughout the season. And then on Friday, we're going to do a short, small pregame show. So looking forward to that.
Very cool. Make sure you're following Coach on all the socials. His Twitter is at Tommy Moffitt, so I'm sure you'll put out all the stuff whenever it's there. Can you do one more segment so we can talk Tigers and football? All right, so we're going to grab a break. We'll come back. Tommy Moffitt will do one more segment with us. We'll talk about the current Tigers, the roster, all that sort of stuff. I'm looking forward to it, the SEC, all that stuff. So we'll talk to Coach one more segment when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
The official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints is Rouse's, Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Check them out there online at Rouse's.com, or you know where Rouse's is. If you live in Louisiana, there's a Rouse's near you. Just pop on in. Of course, everything you need on the grocery side, they got you covered. And also, you want a hot lunch, get on into Rouse's. If it's from the seafood department, from the butcher, got the bakery as well, great floral department. You want to, on your way home, stop in, pick up a dozen roses or flowers for the missus or for that special someone in your life. You can do it at Rouse's and also grab dinner. They got hot and boiled kiosks, so if you want boiled seafood, boom, they got it. Just grab and go. It's already priced. Just roll. If you want sushi, they got prepared sushi already. Grab your sushi roll, head on out. You'd be a hero tonight. Just pick up dinner. Nobody needs to cook. Rouse's has got it covered. If you can't get to Rouse's, no worries. They have curbside delivery, carry-out and delivery options as well, online or at the Rouse's app. It's Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes LUBA a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, one more segment here with Coach Tommy Moffitt. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Tommy Moffitt. Good enough to spend some time. If you're just joining us and you missed, we spent the first segment kind of talking about what the last 8 months have been like for Coach and leaving LSU and what he's been up to. We talked about the Moffitt Method there in the last segment, which is the project that Coach is working on, which is going to be an app-based platform for schools all around the country to be able to get his training. It would be a great supplemental asset for high school strength and training programs all over the country. Let's talk some ball.
Yeah.
The last 2 years were obviously not the expectation at LSU. Right. I mean, What are first-year impressions of Brian Kelly? Do you know him at all?
Yeah, I met him.
I mean, I know you met him. I know. But
no,
you also in coaching
yeah.
circles, you talk and y'all played Notre Dame a few times.
Yeah.
What have been your impressions?
Yeah. So he's going to put a well-organized, well-oiled machine that executes very well on the field. I think you can tell. Based on all the stuff that's come out, he's highly organized. He's going to make sure that the players are doing what they're supposed to do. That's of the guys that I've talked to, he's been real big in accountability, and accountability leads to success on the field. And so he's going to, they're going to execute well, and that's half the battle right there is executing. The X's and O's and the Jimmies and Joes, and they're going to have players, and they're going to execute, and I think they're going to be successful.
Do you think that so this is the big question I have when I look at the team. You played the bowl game with 39 scholarship players available, and a lot went wrong at the end.
Yeah.
I think we all understand. But he had a hell of an uphill climb just trying to put a roster back together to be competitive. Like, how good can they be relative to 1 to 14 in the league with the talent?
Yeah. So
against that schedule.
Yeah. So of the 39 guys, they didn't have a quarterback.
Right.
So that had a lot to do with it right there. So, but there's other players on that team that I think through recruiting, and whether you're talking about BJ or Jaquelin or Ali or the linebacking crew, the wide receiver crew. There's a couple of guys in the secondary that I know are good players. They got great coaches that are surrounding the players. So in 2000, we had 2 wide receivers, and guys, I'm sorry if they're listening, but those guys could barely run a 4.9. I mean, we had some.
I'm going through. I'm like, all right, who was on the?
Yeah, I'm not even going to name names, but we didn't have a great team in 2000, but we got lined up and they played hard. They played hard for the purple and gold. And I think the key, well, like for instance, Kyle Kipps was a tight end that they moved to defensive end. He had a great season. So, the key is to fill all 11 guys on offense and defense. Make sure that you have some good specialists and, don't overthink it and don't go out there and try to be too fancy and line up and play clean, hard-nosed football and compete. And if they do that, they're going to be – it's LSU. I mean, they're going to be more than adequate, I think, because of the guys that they have on the roster and the people that they've brought in. I think they're going to be more than adequate. There's a couple of positions, I think, that are thin, offensive line and the secondary, based on what little I've looked at it. They're pretty thin at those two positions, but they got great coaches there, so they can't have a bunch of injuries. Man.
Yeah. And the interesting thing there at both those positions as well, I was looking at the line. They've got 10 guys that have started games on the offensive line. 10.
Yeah.
I mean, but that kind of speaks to one of two things. Either it's great because you got 10 guys that have that experience, or nobody's won a job.
Right.
So it goes one of the two ways how it all plays out. I would always love during the summer, right before camp would start, either we'd have you on or the guys have you in the morning, and we kind of go through, all right, who stood out in the offseason workouts? Obviously, you're not with the team this summer, but are there guys that are still on the roster? I'm not going to ask you about someone you didn't coach, don't know, but are there guys who maybe you've thought during the time you've had him, he's going to be really good? Just give him a chance. Like maybe who we could look to this year and say, yeah, that guy might be poised for a big season.
Well, they got 4 guys on the defensive line that I think can all be really good. Those guys, Jaquelin, Mason Smith, BJ, and Ali. And did I say Jaquelin Roy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Those 4 guys can be really good. Micah Baskerville is as good as any linebacker that we've had. He's just had issues that have kept him off the field, whether it was an injury or anything else. So I think Micah can be a really good linebacker. He's very instinctive. He can run, but he's got to be in the right frame of mind and be in great shape. But I think Micah's a good linebacker. Mike Jones, he started at Clemson, so I think Mike can do it there. So, yeah, I think they have the talent. I really do. And the offensive line, the good thing about the O-line, they got Coach Brad Davis, who's going to get those guys lined up.
Yeah.
He's going to get them lined up, and they're going to play hard. But last year he had 1 month with our team before we started training camp, and I watched him every day for the entire month of July. It was like he was moving checkers around on the chessboard trying to get them lined up, and so we struggled mightily at that position. So I think they have the talent, to do well. They have some guys. A guy that I love is Jeray Jenkins at wide receiver because he's tough, he's hard-nosed, he's going to make the tough catches, he's a great leader. And then they got guys, whether it's the boy from Zachary,
Chris Hilton.
Chris Hilton, Brian Thomas, what's the other freshman from last year?
Malik Nabers.
Malik Nabers.
Malik was in that chair at the start of the show today.
Yeah. Oh, was he really?
Absolutely.
Oh, I missed him.
Yeah.
So those are guys that I've given a lot of thought about that I think. I mean, the receivers. So I was talking earlier about the receivers that we had in 2000. Every one of the guys that I just named that are on the roster at LSU are better than the receivers that we had then, except for Josh Reed. Except for Josh. Josh was a big-time playmaker. I mean, he won the Biletnikoff Award. But the other guys around Josh were not good at all. I mean, I can't say that.
I'm going through the list. I remember some of the – I mean, Jarrell Myers had a great freshman year. He was freshman All-SEC, and then it never kind of happened again for him. Reggie Robinson was on the team.
Those guys ran 4.9.
Yeah, Reggie jokes about – Ryan Clark has been in here joking about Reggie.
They ran 4.9.
It's so
great
funny.
Dudes, man.
Yeah.
And then Jack Hunt. Hunt started as a freshman at wide receiver. So,
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So that's one of those tidbits.
And I talk bad about Jack. I don't have a problem talking bad about Jack. But every one of the guys that I just named, except for Josh Reed, every one of those guys are better than those guys right there.
All right. Well, I got a few more minutes with you. I mentioned several times, I think you're an awesome storyteller. I'm just going to ask you about a couple of games and moments because I just want to hear your recollection. All right, so the 2019 Clemson National Championship. I loved, by the way, seeing you and your family on the field after the game. Like, it's just the unbridled joy, the experience of climbing the mountain was just awesome. I think I saw that video on my phone somewhere. What do you remember about that day? Or about Joe? Joe's season, the whole thing.
Yeah, so Joe was the man. You know, he was everything. From the first day that he stepped on campus there till the last day he stepped off campus, he controlled the entire room all the time. And had, you know, it was a huge reason for the success that we had. It was nothing that he couldn't do, and the guys loved him. They respected him. They knew that he was going to go to war for them. He was prepared. I've never seen anyone, the only other guy, I can't say never, the only other guy that I've seen watch more film than he was Peyton Manning. And you could go in the building at all times of the day, and Joe would be watching film. He'd be sitting with Coach Munoz or sitting with Brady or sitting, you know, with Ensminger. And because a lot of people give, you know, Joe Brady all the credit, but there was George Munoz and Ensminger and all these other guys that he sat with at different times in the day and watched film. So he was as prepared as anybody. Yeah, there he is right there.
God,
the man.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Look, when you grow up here, and I've said this on air a bunch, every conversation starts with Billy Cannon.
Yeah.
From the time I was a kid, Billy Cannon. It's just, okay, well, Billy Cannon, and then to where you never think anyone's ever going to surpass it. He's been surpassed.
Yeah.
Like, it's Joe Burrow, Billy Cannon, and then you can have the rest of the conversation. 2011, remember watching the 9-6 game, and Les Miles is on the field after the game, and Tracy Wolfson asks if he wants to play him again. And Les says, I'll never forget it. I was at my parents' house watching the game with my dad. He said, I'd be honored to play that team again.
Yeah.
And I went, no!
Yeah.
No!
Yeah.
Why?
When they announced Alabama, it just, all the air went out of the balloon because it took all we had to beat them in Tuscaloosa, you know, and Eric Reed's pick, you know, where him and the receiver.
Michael Williams.
Yeah, Michael.
The tight end?
They were wrestling over the ball. I mean, so all the air went out of it. But, you know, there wasn't a single guy on the team that was afraid of Alabama. There wasn't a single guy. And so Coach Miles told me, before we called it bowl prep, that's from the SEC championship on, everything, it didn't matter what had happened in the past. We focused all of our energies on bowl prep. So Coach Miles said, we're not going to practice hard. We've played this team before. I want you to train them. They're all yours until we get, you know, ready to play the game, you know, when we start practice. And so we set a course, you know, and trained the team, had them ready. And then the first day of practice started, he just murdered them, you know. And honestly, by the time we got to the game, there just wasn't a lot of guys. And, you know, T-Bob, I'm sure, has talked about it.
Well, he ruined it for everybody because of the fight he started.
Yeah, yeah. So, and yeah, I was there. There was no one in the locker room fighting. I can promise you that. They were sitting in the locker. They were exhausted just from the preparation and practicing on the concrete of the Superdome. I mean, you know, you practiced on that, and it's concrete. Like when you're running on the field at the Superdome, there's these there are metal plates. I guess there's some kind of electrical boxes underneath it. So when you're running, you'll hit one of those boxes and it goes boom. I mean, you can hear it. And it's just the turf is sitting on top of that concrete.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just wears your legs out when you practice on it. And the more you practice on it, the more detrimental it is to the game day performance. But we practiced hard. And so, you know, Coach was all about practice, man. And we just practiced and practiced and practiced. And there was just nothing left.
Yeah. I was a senior at LSU in 03. It was my senior year. So when you haven't won one in 45 years and you win one, it was euphoric.
Yeah.
They're all special and different in their own way, but that one was something. When did you know, or did you know, that team was capable of that?
You know, I thought we were going to be really good, but after really we started, when you go down the gauntlet of teams that we beat, it became quickly apparent, that we were going to be really good. And, we opened the season, in Houston. I guess it was Houston. No, that was Jerry World. That was in Dallas. We opened the season with Oregon.
That was 2011.
Yeah. Oh, wait, we're talking about 2019.
It was in 03.
Oh, 03.
03, yeah.
I better pay attention.
03.
Yeah,
03,
so
03 was my senior year at LSU.
Yeah.
So it was the first title in 45 years. And I'll tell you, that season and nobody ever thinks, because when you've never been there, you think it's like a forbidden land. But the Ole Miss game, when Eli tripped, and held that offense out of the end zone, because the final was when the final or was 17-10 or 17-13. No, wait, it was 14. I'm trying to remember the final score now. 13. They basically Nichols missed 2 field goals in that ball game.
Yeah.
But holding that offense, that Eli-led offense, I was like, there's nobody that can score on this team.
Yeah, that it's a small place, but it's a tough place to go play. Those fans get after you, man. And when you get off the bus, there's little kids flipping you birds. And, they get after you pretty good. But that was a big win, And Eli, actually, the guard got knocked back, and the guard stepped on his foot and he fell. But it was before that. You could just tell by the leadership in the room that those guys were all dialed in. And Coach Saban, he didn't put up with a lot of bull malarkey, and so those guys were dialed in. And that's the key to being successful. And we had a great quarterback. We had a guy that was, really, really sharp. He was older, more mature than the rest of the guys on the team. Probably made as much money or had made as much money playing baseball as half our staff back then. We used to joke about that. So, he was, other than Coach Saban, he was the second richest guy in the building.
Probably still is now, man. Yeah. Matt Mauck is Dr. Matt Mauck. He's a dentist in Denver. I hear dentists do pretty well. I told you I could keep you forever. I could talk to you forever. But I'm going to thank you very much for the time, as always.
You're welcome.
It's always our pleasure. I appreciate you giving this time to our audience as well. I know so many people you've been part of everybody here. If you think about it, Coach, legitimately, for 22 years, you have been a part of all of our lives. Yeah. You have been. I mean, you have been a constant.
God bless you all.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, a lot of people want to know what's up, and they want to hear from you, and I think they're going to be glad to hear that, what's going on and what's coming up next too. And then I'm gonna bother you again. I mean, you know that. So.
Oh no, that's fine. Again, my schedule's wide open.
Well, I will fill many of those dates throughout football season. I appreciate it, Coach. Thank you so much.
Appreciate
that is Tommy Moffitt. This is After Further Review.
AFR.
Let me remind you about Schutz Electric every single day in South Louisiana. Rain, thunder, lightning. Man, here comes the bad weather. Can knock the power out. Oddly, I live in a part of town where we lose power a lot. That's why Erica finally said, get a generator. So we did. Just last month, had our automatic home standby generator installed by Schutz Electric. When the power goes out, generator comes on, powers the entire house. There were 2 things primarily that really surprised me. Number one, how affordable a home standby generator is. The technology has advanced where the prices have been very reasonable and financing is available. That's one. Number 2, all the permitting and everything that goes into installing a generator is a lot, and Schutz handles all of it. Customer service was exceptional. They'll do for you what they did for me. It's Schutz Electric. CESofLA.com. Log on, get that estimate today. CESofLA.com. That's CESofLA.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
And what a show. Malik Nabers kicked us off in the first segment. Tommy Moffitt there just spent 3 segments with us. We ain't even close to being done yet. So glad to have you aboard on this Tuesday edition of AFR. If you missed any of it, make sure you catch AFR On Demand, presented by Breck Golf. Muso. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Jeff Schultz of The Athletic reports that the Atlanta Falcons have attempted to trade Deion Jones and have failed to trade Deion Jones. The report also notes that the Falcons have also decided not to cut Debo, as they would only save about $1 million off of their salary cap. So keep you updated as they continue to try and shop him. He is owed $9.64 million in base salary.
I would love it if Deion Jones was no longer an Atlanta Falcon.
Yeah, that means what? We'd be down to 2 LSU linebackers in the NFC South, I think. Just 2. Minter and... Or no, Minter's not even with the Bucs anymore, is he? Is it just Devin White? Anyway, moving on. Alex Bregman was slated to be in the lineup for the Houston Astros last night, was pulled out of that because his wife Reagan went into labor. And last night, the Bregmans welcomed Samuel Knox Bregman to the world, class of 2040. So keep an eye out for that. Potentially a future LSU Tiger potentially there. But congrats to Alex and Reagan Bregman.
I'm so fired up for him, for them, for both of them. And Knox is a stinking cute kid. Like,
pretty good.
I'll be real with you. People say, "Oh, babies are cute." Not all babies are cute. If you got an ugly baby, that's a cute baby.
Cute baby.
That's a really cute baby.
Good athletic genes too.
Yeah.
Tough one for Alex Lang last night. Took the loss, blew a save, gave up 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning. That's kind of all that we want to say about that. He'll bounce back though. And DJ LeMahieu followed up what was a really good night on Sunday with a great night on Monday. About a little 3-for-4 effort for DJ at the top of the order. Scored 2 runs as well. The average up to 290. All 3 hits, singles. And then lastly, Kevin Gausman will be on the bump tonight. He's 7-8 on the year with a 3.30 ERA, facing off against the Tampa Bay Rays. 122 Ks for Gausman in 103 2/3 innings pitched. That's Tigers and the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. That's lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge has gone to get engaged for 40 years, where you always get a beautiful diamond. And, of course, the Lee Michaels experience every single time. lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. We need to check out something too, Muse, because someone sent me on the text line, do not have this confirmed, but you mentioned it yesterday about Landon Marceau. Somebody texted me today that he has been promoted to AA. I've been searching for it. I've not found it.
I'm looking into that.
All right, look into it. Okay.
He deserves it.
Hour number 3, Saints Report next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. You can check them out online or call to schedule an appointment. Hormone replacement therapy is something that I've told you about for years. It's something that's worked for me and thousands of other men. No matter your age, you may think, I'm too young for that. Every single human, man or woman, ages differently. And a lot of times, stress can be an accelerator of the aging process. A simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. It's safe, it's affordable, it's effective. You want to go to sleep and sleep through the night and have great sleep. If you want to wake up more energized and refreshed, if you want to be able to burn that stubborn fat, have more energy to get into the gym and get results, it is possible. Hormone replacement therapy could be the answer, and the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana can help. Online, learn more. theantiagingclinics.com.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 1 more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
This is Sports.
I'm Kevin Linter. Let's get the last couple of trades in before the deadline. The Phillies, according to Jeff Passan, finalizing a deal to acquire Noah Syndergaard from the Angels. The Yankees have shipped out Jordan Montgomery to St. Louis in exchange for center fielder Harrison Bader. So the Yankees outfield has Benintendi and Bader, who they've acquired to go along with Judge, Hicks, and this guy named Stanton. That's not bad. All right, there it is. We're done. Trades are done. Big news of the day. Juan Soto dealt from the Washington Nationals to the San Diego Padres. Former world champion and baseball player Nick Swisher, a guest earlier on Canty and Carlin on ESPN Radio. So what this could mean.
I mean, it's huge. It should be a boost for the squad moving forward. But I think, also, that really, really locks that bond in from front office to player, because now you're saying to yourself, whatever we need, they're going to go out and get.
A host of other moves happened today, but we got to go to football because a big story developed as well. The Miami Dolphins docked the first-round pick next year. Third rounder in 2024. Their owner has been fined and suspended until mid-October for violating the integrity of the game policy with regards to tampering and tanking allegations.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. And now, a no-frills ad brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Here it is. You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. That's it. See? Just a good old-fashioned, straightforward ad. See if you could save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE or Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Big show. If you missed, we led off the show today with Malik Nabers in studio. Tommy Moffitt was with us for the bulk of hour number 2. If you missed any of that, AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. However, get your podcast. Just search After Further Review or on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Saints are back at it on Tuesday. Our good friend, Brooke Kirchhofer, was there at Saints camp. Good enough to join us now for a couple of minutes. Brooke, we appreciate the time. How are you?
Thanks, Matt. I'm good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Let's start with a little bit of news that I noticed is kind of broken maybe in the last hour or so. Kawaan Baker, the wide receiver, looks like he's going to be suspended. What can you tell us there?
That actually just happened in the last over the last hour. We actually were just working in the media room. So it wasn't something that was talked about when we were with Dennis Allen after practice. Of course, the Saints released that Kawaan Baker is suspended 6 games for violating NFL policy on performance-enhancing substances. What I can tell you after 6 days of watching Saints camp, he was going to be someone who I don't think would have even made the practice squad. We know how full that wide receiver room is, and just the uphill battle he's already climbing. So I don't think that's going to end up being an issue for the Saints going into the season. But 6 games, big suspension if he were to make the team.
Okay, that does make a lot of sense. That was going to be an uphill climb there. And man, this is disappointing. I saw that you shared this tweet from Mike Garofalo as well about Smoke Monday, who was one of the more significant undrafted free agents for the Saints, the rookie safety. What do we know?
And he just was a fun guy to be around. I actually covered him when I worked in Georgia several years ago, covering him at Auburn. And he's just somebody that's brings a lot of energy to a room that already, as we know, this Saints secondary brings a lot of that already. But Mike Garafolo, as you mentioned, he said he suffered what's believed to be a significant knee injury. Really tough break for Smoke Monday. We actually were talking with Tyrann Mathieu, who obviously isn't been at camp, but when he was here for his own camp that he put on at the Saints facility not too long ago, I asked him about some of these young guys coming in, and Smoke Monday was one of the names that was brought up, and that they're in constant communication. He has Smoke Monday actually over at his house often, having dinner, kind of going through things, a little bit of a mentorship role. It's a really tough break for him.
Did you all see the injury happen?
I did not see it. And from what I heard around the room, I don't think any cameras actually spotted the injury.
Got it. You did mention Tyrann. This is almost obligatory at this point. Anything new there? Any rumblings around the newsroom or what might be going on there?
Nothing coming out yet, but I will say the surprising thing is just how supportive the Saints have been when they are asked about it. Anytime Tyrann Mathieu is brought up, they make it seem like this is a non-issue right now and that he's going to be back soon. Of course, he was there for all of minicamp and OTAs, so very surprising when that excused absence came about, that he's dealing with a personal matter. The Saints said yesterday, they're going to welcome him back with open arms when he comes back. But of course, it's been kind of confusing, right? With his social media taking down all the Saints posts on his Instagram. It's really up in the air what's going on with Mathieu.
Getting the Saints camp report. Brooke Kirchhofer is with us, WWL Television in New Orleans. I noticed you posted a video today of Trevor Penning, and he is very quickly becoming one of my favorite players because I love an offensive lineman with a mean streak like this. Fill us in. What's it been like? Because we see clips, right? We see these 15-second clips, him getting into it today with JT Gray. Aside from just those little clips we've seen, what's it been like watching the rookie first-rounder offensive lineman?
So before these scuffles even started, about day 3, day 4, I just took a chance and watched him. Just watched him off to the side. And I can tell that after the play, well after the whistle is blown, he's got hands on the defensive lineman, or even if they're just in regular offensive line drills where they're on each other. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm seeing this Mauler mentality we talked about during the draft. And then, of course, you see the first scuffle he gets in. He swings at Peyton Turner, who we all know is not a small guy by any means. And then Taco Charlton, and he's not backing down at all. 2 huge guys go after him. And then today, bigger scuffle again. Him and JT Gray, little back and forth after the play. He's got his hands on JT Gray. JT Gray doesn't like it. He turns around at him. And what we saw was someone just retreat, which was kind of, that's the only way I can describe it. You just saw JT Gray lock eyes with Penning. Penning bucked, and JT Gray was like, yeah, I'm good on that. And Alontae Taylor tried to break it up as well. And I'm thinking, man, this dude is just a dog. And when you see that, reporters ask afterwards, like, is there any issues, whatnot? Oh, no. This is what the Saints want. And Dennis Allen has said from day one, he wants a competitive group. And this is the kind of things I think we're going to see. We've seen some defensive backs, too, kind of get into it a little bit with the wide receivers. They were giving Chris Olave a run for his money yesterday, and then today just yanking on him a little bit. It's just, I feel like that's one of the bigger differences between this year's training camp and last, is the competitive spirit is super high.
Brooke, speaking of which, and staying on the offensive line, there were a lot of comments. I know you all got to speak to Cesar Ruiz, and there's no secret here. It's a massive year for him. If the Saints are going to pick up a 5th-year option, he has to take that step forward. Is there any indication that it looks like he's ready to do that?
So when we asked him today, and I think it took 4 or 5 questions to finally get him to answer, hey, looking at the tape last year, be for real. What are we working on? We all know the scrutiny. He knows the scrutiny he was under. He has to see that, right, as a young guy on social media. And he said he actually is working on his confidence. That's something that he wants to play more freely. He felt like he didn't play that way last year and was in his head. He also talked a little bit, too, about working on his hands, and that's been helpful with Jari Evans, interning, working with him separately off to the side. So I think he thinks he has everything going for him as far as making that step. We just haven't seen it yet. And there's been a lot of plays that I don't want to say he's taking off plays, but there's just that missing that sign of aggression that you need as somebody who's blocking a quarterback who's trying to come back from a knee injury.
Jameis, by all accounts, the quarterback you're talking about, seems to be moving fluidly with no hesitation. It seems, Brooke, like he's just in command of the team. Isn't it odd, though, that your starting quarterback coming off a knee injury is not really a focal point of this conversation that people are talking about?
I know, right? And when you think about knee injuries, we all know when you have that mass knee injury, it's a 9-month recovery. He's nowhere near 9 months yet. He's 6, 7 months into recovery, and those are those kind of periods where we see people just being able to pivot off their knee and things like that. Well, he's been seemingly doing it and efficiently and moving out of the pocket. We actually saw him get a little bit more mobile today and be more comfortable with it. Of course, that deep ball to Deontay Hardy for, I think it was a 50-something yard touchdown. That was the first time we've kind of seen him go deep and be comfortable throwing deep in training camp. But he's been moving out of the pocket well. A lot of the players talk about that moment he had with them in Miami was super helpful, and that is where they kind of saw that, hey, our starting quarterback is healthier than we thought he was. So right now it's a non-issue until it becomes one, but he still has a lot of growth. I mean, it's 6 days into camp. I think we're going to continue to see the connection between the wide receivers and Jameis Winston progress, but it's not where it needs to be just yet.
2 more. Number 1, anybody that we haven't talked about that is standing out so far early in camp?
We haven't talked about it yet, but everybody in camp sure is. Paulson Adebo coming in off a rookie year where he just stood out and was so impressive, came in and into a very challenging role. I mean, you're opposite Marshawn Lattimore, and he has just been confident in year 2 and has made a jump. He looks a little bit bigger, was able to put on more weight, and the guys say he's just playing with a lot more swagger, and he's more confident in that role, kind of getting chippy with the wide receivers. He's made a ton of pass breakups, but right on his heels is Alontae Taylor. It seems like once Adebo makes a play, Alontae's right behind him making the same play. So that's pretty comforting knowing going into a season after so many injuries last year that you have guys at your number 2s that could be starters on other rosters.
How are they running the reps, by the way, in the secondary? Like, who's running where?
So with Tyrann Mathieu out, it's been P.J. Williams and Marcus May, Adebo, Marshawn Lattimore, and then Pete Werner just returned today. So it's been Demario Davis, Pete Werner, and then C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Okay. So Taylor and Bradley Roby are all running backup reps?
Yes.
Wow.
But they
you want to talk
rotate
about
them
depth.
so frequently.
It's incredible.
Right.
It's incredible depth. Okay, last thing, surprises. Maybe a storyline you weren't thinking you were going to talk about, or a player who has surprised a lot of people.
For me, it's been Chris Olave. We actually had a chance to interview him in Las Vegas, and I got to see his size and things like that, and I thought that might have been an issue for him because he's pretty small coming in from Ohio State, but everyone has talked about, you know, his pristine route running and his intangibles and things like that, and he's really put that on display. We saw him get pretty beat up, and when I tell you beat up, I mean the first day in pads, the defensive backs made their presence known and were, you know, there's no officials out here yet, so what we would assume would be flags thrown everywhere. That's what we saw with Chris Olave. And he responded today and made a lot of big plays and just is showing that, hey, I'm going to be in the rotation. I can start this year. And there's no doubt in Dennis Allen's mind that he could potentially be one of the 3 guys that's being rotated in heavily in that wide receiver room, which is pretty impressive coming in as a rookie with Landry, Michael Thomas. Of course, you've got some of the other receivers in the room who are more veteran, Traquan Smith, Deontay Hardy, things like that. So he's right there in the mix.
She is Brooke Kirchhofer, WWL Television, on Twitter at Brooke Chesney. Make sure you give her a follow. We appreciate the Saints Camp Report, Brooke. All the best. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
That is our pleasure. Great stuff there from Brooke. The offensive line conversation continues to interest me, like we talked about a bit ago. I wouldn't have thought, when talking about surprises, that Olave would have been in that number, but it is kind of interesting how when you go into camp, you would think your highest drafted player and your quarterback would be the storylines, but they really haven't. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu has dominated so much of the conversation. The unfortunate injury news today, if you missed it, if you're just joining Smoke Monday, apparently has a significant knee injury. That's disappointing, especially at the safety spot where you're now down 2 guys with Tyron and Smoke Monday. Paulson Adebo continues to be that standout. And, man, think about the depth you have there in the secondary, that cornerback in particular, where Adebo's showing out. Marshawn Lattimore's already one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. And you throw Alontae Taylor, Bradley Roby on top as well. I mean, you are deep there. All right, after further review, let me remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. Michelli.com, actually not far from the Saints facility in Harahan is the Michelli main office. You can go to Michelli.com, and they are hiring at that office in Baton Rouge and in Lake Charles. So you can log on to Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com. Hit the careers tab at the top, and you see all the different positions for which they are hiring. If you want to work for a great local company that's been around for 75 years and looking ahead to 75 more, Michelli Weighing and Measurement. They service all scale and measurement equipment makes and models. So check it out for all their services and the products that they offer at Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. All right, it's after further review. We have been jam-packed today, and thanks so much to Coach Tommy Moffitt, who was with us last hour, to Malik Nabers, who was with us in hour number 1. We've talked a little Saints camp as well. Pro Football Focus has listed their preseason All-Americans, and a couple of Tigers were honored. One of them might actually surprise you a bit. So we'll get to that when we come back next. Glad to have you aboard with us here on a Tuesday edition of AFR.
AFR.
I want to remind you about the Baton Rouge General Hospital because it helps whenever you might have a medical need to know that the Baton Rouge General is there and all of the different services and locations that the Baton Rouge General offers. If it's emergency care at 3 different locations, the Mid-City ER, the Bluebonnet campus, and, of course, the Ascension Neighborhood Hospital. That's right. Ascension Parish now has their own emergency room with the opening of the Ascension Neighborhood Hospital, where if you're driving I-10 near the Prairieville exit, you will see the back of the Ascension Neighborhood Hospital is the emergency room that faces the interstate, so you can't miss it. The Express Care locations. You got 3 locations across the greater Baton Rouge area. Dutchtown, right next to the high school. On Highland, just through the south gates of LSU. And then on Nicholson, directly across from Tiger Stadium. That's walk-in, urgent care, 7 days a week. But whatever health issue you may have, the Baton Rouge General can help. If it's cancer services, emergency care, their heart and vascular center, elective procedures, primary care, you can even deliver your baby at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. brgeneral.org.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
We'll get to Otter Locks in about 25 minutes from right now. We have not yet gotten to the Miami Dolphins being punished today for tampering, which included interest in former Saints coach Sean Payton. I'll get to that here in a little more than 10 minutes from right now. So glad to have you aboard with us here. It is preseason awards time, preseason All-America teams, etc. Pro Football Focus today did publish their preseason All-America team. And they listed a first, second, and third team preseason All-Americas. And LSU had two players make the team. One is a player that I think everyone would probably expect to be on any and all preseason All-America teams. Pro Football Focus does list Keyshawn Butte as a first-team wide receiver. The three first-team All-America wide receivers are Jackson Smith and Jiba from Ohio State, who had the monster Rose Bowl, Jordan Addison, the reigning Biletnikoff Award winner, and Keyshawn Butte. I want to remind you that we all know Keyshawn Butte is spectacular. We've seen it. But he has played in 16 career games. 16. He played in 10 during the COVID season, where he really didn't pop until the final 3 weeks. And then 6 last year, but those 6 were so spectacular that even though he's only played 16 career games, he's still a preseason first-team All-American from Pro Football Focus. Deserving, absolutely, but a major kudos to him. Nobody on the second team, nobody on the third team, and they also listed honorable mention, and that's where you find the other LSU player who received preseason All-America honors from Pro Football Focus, and it's cornerback Jarek Bernard-Converse. So I think Jarek Bernard-Converse is shaping up to be LSU's maybe most important, if not certainly most underrated transfer. Brian Kelly in spring, remember, we did not get to see Jarek Bernard-Converse in spring. He had the shoulder issue. Brian Kelly said he didn't expect it to linger, but we didn't get to see him. Here's what Brian Kelly said, though, about the former Oklahoma State All-Big 12 performer.
You know, I think Jarek, first of all, quality human being, great leader. You know, this is a first-team Big 12 corner, and he's got traits. He's a leader, great student. So, you know, I'm really pleased with him.
I want to point out also that on the preseason All-America teams, so you have 2 starting corners on each of the teams. So first team, second team, third team. First team is Eli Ricks from Alabama, Cam Smith from South Carolina, both from the SEC. Second team, Keely Ringo from Georgia and Darrell Luther from South Alabama. So one from the SEC. And then on third team, you've got DJ Turner from Michigan and Jason Marshall from Florida. So first, second, and third team, you've got 6 cornerbacks listed. 4 of the 6 are from the SEC, and then Jarek Bernard-Converse is your honorable mention cornerback, along with Tyreek Stevenson from Miami. So I guess my point is he's not going to get preseason All-SEC love because there's so many SEC cornerbacks on this list, but he's getting honorable mention preseason All-America love. A guy who started 47 consecutive games at Oklahoma State. And I'm starting to think that, and last week we did talk about this as well, because there was, the top 50 cornerbacks in the country were ranked by Pro Football Focus. And it wasn't a projection, an NFL projection. It was the top 50. I'm sorry, it was top 25 cornerbacks. And LSU had 2, Converse and Mekhi Garner. And only LSU and North Carolina had 2, which made me think like LSU might have the best cornerback tandem in college football. You got to play it out on the field. But the more we see these types of either objective or subjective lists, data, rankings, All-America honors, all that sort of stuff, you keep seeing these names pop up, which validates it. Now, the one curious omission was B.J. Ojulari. B.J. Ojulari was not first, second, third, or honorable mention by Pro Football Focus. And I think that's a case in point why it's so important for B.J. Ojulari to go to SEC Media Days. Because he was first team preseason All-SEC. Because he was there. And everyone got to meet him. And they were like, oh, this guy had 11.5 tackles for loss and 7 sacks last year. Well, yeah, he just played on a really bad defense on a team that went 6-6, and nobody paid attention to him, but he was spectacular. It's why you go there, and it's why the SEC media voted for him. And hopefully he's able to match or surpass that production this year, and LSU on field does much better, and he gets a lot of those honors. But I'll remind you, Matt House had Josh Allen at Kentucky the year when Josh Allen had 17 sacks and 21.5 tackles for loss back in 2018 before he became a first-round draft pick. I'm not telling you that that's the benchmark for B.J. Ojulari. What I'm telling you is you have a defensive coordinator that knows how to use a freakishly athletic edge rusher, create space and opportunities for him like he did with Josh Allen, and he's going to try to do the same with B.J. Ojulari this year. So while B.J. Ojulari may not be on anybody's watch lists or not watch lists, like preseason All-America type teams, he's got a really good chance to be there at the end of the season because of the production that's available. As far as Jark Bernard Converse and LSU's pass defense, a year ago, LSU was 80th in the country in pass defense. They allowed 236 yards a game. This is DBU, okay? DBU was 80th in the country in pass defense. For perspective, Middle Tennessee was 79 and Kansas was 81. So you were DBU was smack dab between Middle Tennessee and Kansas in pass defense last year. You've got a lot of room to improve. I would argue, look, Stingley was injured last year, only played a few games. Ricks shut it down midway through the season. And so you had a little bit of a mash unit back there in the secondary. But even still, I think you're going to be better this year. If you had a healthy Derek Stingley, healthy Elias Ricks, if you had, a healthy unit whole all season long, probably a different story. But you didn't, and it's why you were what you were, which is why you should, if this unit stays healthy, expect an improvement. How much of an improvement? We'll wait and see how that plays out. But you should be better this year in the secondary than you were a year ago, largely because of how poorly you were coached and you're healthy. You've got bodies. You've got healthy bodies again. But congrats, Jark Bernard Converse. At least in the preseason accolades season, his name keeps popping up quite a bit, and maybe something to look forward to as we creep closer here to the start of camp and the start of the 2022 season. LSU on the practice field. They report Wednesday. They're on the practice field on Thursday. All right, we're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. 288-8138, 288-8138, and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. That's energy-efficient replacement windows. You want to save money on your energy bills? You can do it. Energy-efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows can help. We had these installed the day we moved into our house. Well, we ordered them the day we moved into our house. Relief Windows, we have this big wall of windows in our den. It makes an L shape that faces the back of the house, and that room would get so hot. Not anymore, because we install these energy-efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows. 288-8138, 288-8138, or ReliefWindows.com. It's windows, doors, and siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. All right, one thing we have not gotten to yet today that I'm aching to talk about is what happened with the Miami Dolphins. If you've not heard yet, the Dolphins have been punished for tampering. You all heard the story about them pursuing Tom Brady and Sean Payton, and many wondered whether or not that was real. Oh, it was real. Very clearly, it actually happened. What about the punishment? What does it tell us about Sean Payton's future? I do have some thoughts, and we'll get into that when we come back on AFR.
AFR.
I love telling you about River City's 1 Hour Air because I love telling you about great companies, and I love reading great testimonials because I know what's going to happen is you're going to call River City's 1 Hour Air, and then you're going to be the next to leave one of these great testimonials, and one day invariably I'll get to read it on air. Like this great testimonial that came in from Dale Park, his customer, who was singing JJ's praises. You've heard me talk about him before. JJ got here quickly, took his time looking over the AC and explaining the issues, potential issues, and so much more. He was very personable and professional. You don't always hear reviews of service technicians like that, but you always hear reviews of service technicians like that when it's River City's 1 Hour Air because they're expertly trained. Continuing education is a major thing, and customer service is even more important at River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks and call 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only...
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I'm going to get to this Miami Dolphins story in just a quick second. This was interesting. Pat Narduzzi, the head coach at Pitt, was suggested that the NCAA remove boosters from the game of college football. And because, look, Pat Narduzzi had the Blitnikoff Award winner and Jordan Addison, who transferred to USC. Narduzzi has gone on the record in saying that his player, he said, quote, he doesn't think there's, quote, any question his players were tempted with NIL inducements one way or the other. So Pat Narduzzi is saying, my star receiver is now at USC because he was tempted with NIL inducements. And he said the way to fix it is to remove boosters from the game. He was reminded the head coaching position at Pitt is officially named the Chris Bickle 97 head football coach after Bickle, a Panther alum, who donated $20 million to the program for a series of capital improvements last fall. At which point, Pat Narduzzi very quickly recanted and said, no, I didn't mean just boosts. I meant third-party collectives. Well, let me remind you something, Pat. Who's funding the collectives, you dope? It's the boosters. Come on, Pat. Insert foot, open, sorry, Paulie. Open foot, insert. Open foot. Open mouth, insert foot. I was going to get it eventually. Open mouth, insert foot. Kind of like I just did right there. Hey, got him. Topics like that and others are what we're going to discuss on Rosters to Riches. You've heard us talk about Drop Biscuit Studios, a new offering from Guarantee Media, a southern home for storytellers. Rosters to Riches is a podcast that I'm doing with Jonathan Pixley from Matchpoint. It is an NIL-based podcast with biggest topics from athletes, brands, collectives. We just dropped the first episode today. So iTunes, Spotify, or dropbiscuit.com, however you get your podcasts. If you're interested in NIL, I think you're going to like this. Quite frankly, Pixley has spent the last year of his life professionally doing nothing but NIL. So, for Matchpoint and negotiating deals and brokering deals between athletes and businesses and both sides of it. So we will have athletes, business owners, coaches, administrators that have all expressed interest in coming on the podcast with us. So we're very, very excited about it. So if you would, however, get your podcast, please go subscribe to Rosters to Riches from Drop Biscuit Studios. We talked over the past several months about those reports that the Miami Dolphins were pursuing a tandem of Tom Brady and Sean Payton. There was even a crazy report that the Dolphins were offering Tom Brady equity, like ownership in the Dolphins. How insane is that? Completely bonkers. To think that an NFL team would tamper with a player and a coach and offer a player ownership when he was still under contract with another team. And man, how could you possibly tamper with a coach who said that he was retired but still under contract with another team? Oh. But it actually happened. Today, the NFL stripped the Miami Dolphins of their 2023 first-round draft pick, a 2024 third-round pick, for violating the integrity of the game. Also, owner Stephen Ross has been suspended through October the 17th and fined $1.5 million. And it all stems from the fact that the Dolphins had impermissible communications with Tom Brady in the 2019 and 2020 seasons, and with Don Yee, who is the agent for both Sean Payton and Tom Brady, by the way. While Sean Payton had been retired, but still under contract with the Saints, apparently Don Yee, the Dolphins reached out to Don Yee about having Sean Payton serve as Miami's head coach. Miami did not seek consent from New Orleans to have these discussions. So today, the NFL dropped the hammer on the Miami Dolphins. And worse for the Dolphins, they didn't get Brady or Payton. Not only were you cheating, you couldn't even cheat good. You couldn't couldn't even get the coach or the player, and now you've lost a 1 and a 4 because you can't even cheat right. That's brutal. I mean, it must be really tough being a Miami Dolphins fan. I'll give the Dolphins a bit of credit. They have gone all in. I mean, you trade for Tyreek Hill. You feel like you've upgraded your roster. The Flores thing was awful. I think we all understand. It was just a very messy, awful situation how it's all transpired. But as far as the roster, trying to upgrade it there, plus you were trying to cheat to get Tom Brady and Sean Payton. I mean, they're trying to win for the first time in a long time. Now, it's going to cost Stephen Ross some money, $1.5 million, but he got it. So what does it really matter? It's going to cost him a couple of draft picks. But I'll tell you this. If you remember, Sean Payton was a coach. This is where sometimes you'll get the little breadcrumbs. Sean Payton was a guest. This was Dan Patrick's show, right? This was when Sean Payton was a guest on the Dan Patrick show a few months ago.
They would have to reach out to the Saints. And look, you know this. You can have a backdoor, hey, would you have any interest? That's happened maybe with a couple clubs, but I'm not looking at that path right now.
We didn't think of it at the time, but Sean Payton told Dan Patrick that's happened. He said a couple of times. So did he mean a couple of teams or a couple of times with Miami? But he basically told you it's happened. I mean, when we played that the first time, I missed it. I didn't think anything of it. I mean, I wouldn't have thought, but sure, it makes sense. That's tampering. So if you wondered, was all that legit? Clearly it was very legit. Miami was trying to lure Tom Brady and Sean Payton. Yes, and now they did so in an illegal manner, and so they've been hammered for it. Now, I will tell you, when I saw this punishment today, I got really, really, really pissed off again about Bountygate because essentially Stephen Ross has been the owner, can't go around the team until October. The vice chairman, Bruce Beal, has been fined, and he can't go to like meetings or be around the team for the year. And then there's these fines and a couple of draft picks. When you look at the sanctions from Bountygate, Greg Williams suspended indefinitely. Sean Payton suspended for the entire 2012 season, which was the first head coach in modern history to be suspended for any reason. Loomis was suspended for 8 games. Vitt was suspended for 6 games as well. The Saints were fined $500,000, which was the maximum fine permitted under the league at that time. They had to forfeit a second-round pick in 2012, a second-round pick in 2013. And their first-round pick had already been traded in 2012, so they didn't have a first 2-round picks that year. Jonathan Vilma was suspended for a season. Anthony Hargrove was suspended for 8 games. Will Smith was suspended for 4 games. Scott Fujita, who was retired at the time, was suspended for 3 games. I mean, the NFL detonated an atom bomb on the Saints for Bountygate. And as tough as it looks to see Stephen Ross get $1.5 million and fine, and the Dolphins will lose a couple of picks, still nothing like what the Saints got with Bountygate. So it pissed me off for that, again, all over again. But I'll tell you, one thing it does confirm, without any question, is the market for Sean Payton. And we should know this. I mean, NFL head coaches matter. I'd say more than any coach in any other sport. The head coach in the NFL matters. We learned that in 2012 when Sean Payton was suspended for the entire year. And the Saints, coming off the greatest season that the organization had ever had in 2011, the greatest team the Saints had ever had, you go 7-9 and you were the worst defense in the history of the NFL. I mean, you fell off a cliff without Sean Payton. So, yes, head coach matters, but there's a market, clearly. If it's in Dallas, we'll see, but clearly Miami and Stephen Ross had an interest in Sean Payton, and they won't be the only one. So what it really did, seeing that, is it validates all the conversations about Sean Payton coaching game, which I think intuitively we feel is true, we think is true, but we don't really know it. This proves, like, there is a market for Sean Payton. Sean Payton's going to coach again at some point, and when he is, the Saints will be compensated for it. All right, it's after further review. Let me remind you about South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. You know where to find them, southpointvw.com. 9 different IIHS top safety picks, which is the highest safety designation, by the way, a vehicle can get. So every time you buckle in to a Volkswagen, you have the peace of mind knowing you're driving one of the safest vehicles on the road. But you're not just driving a boxy tank. You're driving a sporty, stylish car with great luxury features as well. I mean, Erica's Atlas has this digital dash display, power everything, got a panoramic moon roof. I mean, it's pretty incredible. The style, the feel, the performance of luxury without the cost. South Point Volkswagen. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer is South Point Volkswagen. SouthPointVW.com for South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Hey, Muse, were you able to find anything about Marceau?
I was not. Nothing
Okay.
confirmed, no.
Somebody sent me, so Muse yesterday in Tigers and the Pros had pointed out that Landon Marceau had an incredible month of July. And he was in High A.
High A, Tri-City.
With the Angels.
Yep.
And Muse tagged Tigers and the Pros yesterday saying, come on, Angels, call him up. Like, let's get this guy a promotion to Double A. And so someone texted me today, unknowingly, that we talked about it yesterday and said Marceau got promoted to Double A. I have not been able to confirm it, so please don't quote me on that. So we're efforting. Sometimes it's not always the easiest thing in the world to find news about a player being promoted from High A to Double A. As much as LSU fans may care about what happens with Landon Marceau, it's not always the easiest thing. So we're working to confirm that, but that would be really cool for Marceau, who's been fantastic there with the Angels organization. All right, it's after further review. Man, been an awesome show. Malik Nabers started the show. First segment of Hour 1 in studio. We had Tommy Moffitt in studio for the bulk of Hour 2. We talked about Rickie Collins. I'm very bullish on Rickie Collins, who decommitted from Purdue. Thanks to Brooke Kirchhofer, who was with us earlier this hour for a Saints Camp Report. Just a jam-packed show. It's football season. I'm fired up for it. So glad you're aboard. If you missed anything, AFR on demand. However you get your podcast, search After Further Review, subscribe up. You get each hour of the show every single day, or you can watch the show on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. And if you're there, if you would, smash that like button. It helps the algorithm for all of our shows, so we appreciate that. All right, it's After Further Review. Final break. Otter Locks next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Uber Eats, DoorDash, so you can have your wings delivered to you wherever you are. Remember, Tuesday, two things primarily got to tell you about. Tuesday, number one, kids eat free. For a lot of y'all, it's the final week before back to school. One final night out with the kiddos, do so affordably tonight or any Tuesday at Pluckers, because every Tuesday at Pluckers, kids eat free. Also, Tuesday, Pluckers on Nicholson, 8:30, sports trivia. Spin the wheel, win Pluckers gift cards or any great prizes. And remember, hosted by Hunt Palmer, 5 rounds, live action sports trivia every Tuesday at Nicholson only. Tomorrow, trivia returns on Wednesday. Every team gets to spin the wheel to get a prize, even if you don't win a round. So everybody wins something on Wednesday trivia nights at Pluckers. We'll tell you much more about it tomorrow. But tonight, get on by Pluckers. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dining, carry out, or delivery. Pluckers, you don't like our wings. Give me the bird.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. Remember, better coverage for less money. That's Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call or log on for your free quote today. 293-0450 or lainsurance.net. One thing left to do. Got to go out to beautiful Del Mar, where the surf meets the turf, to find out what we're betting on. Tonight, it's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Workbox Services. For over 20 years, Baton Rouge's leader on on-site construction, industrial, and residential services.
So we turn to the one and only, incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott Father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Doing fantastic. How about you, Matthew?
Not as good as I would be doing right now if I were having dinner at the rooftop at Del Mar Plaza.
I'm just giving you a visual. Distracted Otter Locks. You know, you heard the IL, the DL. This is the DOL.
Yes,
Distracted Otter Locks.
Distracted Otter Locks. That looks just a gorgeous sunset overlooking the Pacific. Whatever. All right. What are you losing with tonight, Otter?
Man, the town is popping over here today with the
Soto, yeah, man.
And Bell stuff. And then they picked up another guy from the Reds, picked up Josh Hader earlier. I would say the Padres are trying to get back into it. Tatis coming back in maybe less than a week as well. All right. Why stop now with the Mets, huh? Let's just keep rolling with them. Okay. Yeah. -1.5 on the road. DeGrom will make his 2022 debut. He'll be on a pitch count, but this team is just swinging the bat. We know about the Washington lineup now without Soto, who played well last night. Threw a runner out at the plate on a base hit to right. Had walked and scored the first run of the game, but Mets -1.5 there. Same thing with the Dodgers on the road in San Francisco. But, with all of the Kershaw and Gonsolin and others, this kid Anderson has been phenomenal. We know about his win-loss record. That's great, 11-1. But strikeout to walk ratio, the whip under 1, everything. I mean, and the Dodgers are really smoking the ball as well. 22-5 July. They start off August with a big win last night. Taking them. And the Giants have not been a stellar for quite some time. So they're in a little bit of a different spot as well. So those two single plays and one parlay tonight. Astros with Javier and Atlanta with Strider. So coming back right at even money, maybe a little plus money, but Strider in Atlanta, Houston, money line parlay.
And Dodgers, you did say was run line, correct?
Both, yeah.
Okay.
-1.5. Mets -1.5.
Mets, Dodgers, run line. And then a money line parlay with Houston and Atlanta. Otter, let's hope things start to look up, to turn around a little bit here back home, while we're just rain-soaked and not overlooking the beautiful Pacific Ocean at Del Mar Plaza.
Well, Otter Locks may be a seller. You know, in the spirit of the trade deadline, I mean, if we continue to slide, we'll just have to suspend the services until we get back. I'm a little bit removed. From my my West Bank roots. I'm losing my edge a little bit out here. So.
Yeah, I'm not betting your place anymore. I'm just gonna wait till you get back. I'm gonna wait till you get back, or until you get on a little heater again. We need to get some of that momentum back. Hey, where's Handy tonight?
Handy tonight is at Burnside Salad.
Let's go.
Mike Anderson's the original on lead just off of Nicholson. Matt
1
Humans
minute remaining.
Matt Humans will be on with them. Golf picks and also talking to Big Ten. We did a Big Ten win total podcast earlier today at the Bet Rivers. I'll be on at 7, kind of giving them. I'm on assignment, Matt. I've been covering the trade dedeadline stories over here. So
on assignment in San Diego at Del Mar. All right, Otter. Have a great night. We appreciate it.
See ya.
Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us. We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com, bumper-to-bumper auto service, and name brand tires at wholesale prices. You know where to find them. Log on to ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Click the promotions tab at the top. You'll see all the ways that they save you money on tires. And, of course, they always treat you like family. It's ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. Muse, what'd you learn?
A bathroom kept Tommy Moffitt from taking an NFL job.
That's a fact. Paulie?
Moffitt had multiple job offers after leaving LSU.
We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
I want to remind you about DraftKings. If you do still dare play with the Otter, or if you want to fade the Otter, you can go to DraftKings, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and do that right now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and remember, use the promo code Baton Rouge. New customers can get a $1,000 risk-free first wager. You heard me right. Up to $1,000 risk-free. Bet $1,000. Use the promo code Baton Rouge on your first bet. If you don't hit, no worries. They're going to give you another crack, another bite at the apple. That's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So if it's Major League Baseball, if it's futures bets on college football or the NFL, if it's something really weird like international cricket, it doesn't matter. If you want to bet on it, you can do so at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. Remember, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full terms and conditions. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-7-STOP.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks